On behalf of Indian Pharmacological Society West Bengal Chapter, we welcome you all in this August gathering. So today we are observing or celebrating Maharshi Charak Jayanti, and today is also our 75th Independence Day. We are really fortunate to have this program, and we are now I am requesting our Honorable President, Dr. T K Mondal sir, to give his welcome address. Professor T K Mondal sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Now you are audible, sir.
Acha.
Sir, I have introduced you. So welcome, Professor T K Mondal sir. Please give us your welcome address, sir.
Acha. শোনা যাচ্ছে?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Namaskar. On behalf of IPS West Bengal, heartiest welcome to all of you attending the webinar on Maharshi Charak Jayanti Mahotsav celebration organized by Indian Pharmacological Society West Bengal branch with a technical support from Inovocare Academy. Today, the most auspicious day, 76th and 75 years of independence. Ayurveda, the science of life, is a wellness system that originated in India about 5,000 ago, thus becoming oldest form of medical practices known to humankind. The ancient Indian medical science is celebrated across the world. However, many across the globe are oblivious to Maharshi Charaka, the founder and the father of Ayurveda. Historical records suggest that he lived in the period from 100 BC to not beyond 150 to 200 BC. His work, the Charaka Samhita, is a treasure of all his medical expertise. Charaka was an expert in the field of human anatomy, embryology, pharmacology, blood circulation, and diseases like diabetes, tuberculosis, and cardiovascular diseases in that era. Charaka's texts summarize our lifestyle and environment play a major role in our health and wellness. The Ayurvedic system provides preventive measures and solutions to illness and ailments. According to Charaka Samhita, anything and everything in the universe is composed of Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Vata, that is space and air, means energy of movement. Pitta, fire and water, means principles of digestion and metabolism. And Kapha, water and earth, means dosha of structure and lubrication. We will be enriched today on the status of Ayurvedic research, which will be delivered by our learned speaker today. Once again, I welcome to our respected President, Indian Pharmacological Society, Dr. C. Prakashji, who will give keynote address. Welcome, Dr. R.N. Acharya, Director, Central Council for Research in Ayurveda and Siddha, Government of India. I also welcome to the speakers, Padma Shri Dr. Shashank R. Joshi, Professor Abichal Chattopadhyay, retired professor of Institute of Postgraduate Ayurvedic Education Research, Kolkata. Dr. Sonali Mukherjee, Senior Ayurvedic Medical Officer, Department of Health and Family Welfare, Government of West Bengal, and Dr. Achinto Mitra, Officer in Charge, Regional Ayurvedic Research Institute, Uttarakhand. I also welcome the chairpersons, Professor S.K. Tripathi, Dr. Tuhin Biswas, Professor Paresh Chandra Tripathi, Professor S.K. Bandyopadhyay, Professor Anjan Adhikari, Professor Lopamudra Dhar Chaudhary, Professor Santanu Munshi, and Professor S. Pathak of Karnataka. And also welcome to all the participants attending this seminar. Wish the program a grand success. Once again, Namaskar. Over to Dr. Shambo.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your kind words. Thank you, Professor T K Mondal. Now, it is our real delight to have Dr. Shiprakash Ratnam, the President of Indian Pharmacological Society. So welcome, sir. We are really delighted to have you today with us. May I request you to give your keynote address today?
Thank you, Dr. Shambo. First of all, let me wish all of you a happy Independence Day. And what a day coincided with this Maharshi Charak Jayanti, Independence and Charak Jayanti on 15th of August. It's a wonderful coincidence. I think it's great to celebrate Maharshi Charak Jayanti on this occasion. I thank Dr. Shambo for inviting me as a keynote speaker for this very auspicious Charak Jayanti, which we are celebrating on this day. And I know that this program will be very successful. Dr. Mondal has given a brief introduction and some glimpse of what is Maharshi Charak Jayanti is all about and his contribution to Ayurveda. He laid the foundation for Ayurveda even before modern medicine started a century ago, and then before that, most of us all over the world, including India, were dependent on herbals for treatment of various diseases. But we call in India it is Ayurveda because we had our own system of medicine that was very wonderful, taking care of a lot of diseases at that time. So there is an advent of modern medicine, and afterwards there are a lot of changes happen in the way in which we look at herbal medicine for various therapies. But nevertheless, even after the advent of modern medicine, we do not have a proper medication to treat a lot of diseases which are neglected. So if I can just give you some examples, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, autoimmune diseases like arthritis, and most of the liver diseases, still we do not have a proper allopathic intervention to treat these diseases. And I find the Ayurveda provides a lot of opportunities and plans for us to explore and take this research forward. So we are now living in a very modern world, and I see the Charaka Samhita and Sushruta Samhita did not add any great additions of supplements, and they are just like that, and we are just overly dependent on these samhitas. I feel that we need to use modern tools to standardize them, and then to put some clinical data on some of the deadly diseases wherein which we can treat using Ayurvedic medicine. That would really do a great service to the mankind. So Ayush department, is spending a lot of money and providing a lot of funds to do research in this direction. I think we should take advantage of this and take Ayurveda to the next level. I'm seeing a lot of amazing speakers today. Dr. Padma Shri, Dr. Shashank Joshi is here to speak about diabetes. Is one of the most renowned person to speak on this occasion. How to use natural therapies, to treat liver diseases and some other endocrinological diseases. Professor Chattopadhyay is here. Dr. Sonali Mukherjee and Dr. Mitra are speaking on some wonderful topics which are relevant even today, even though there is a lot of advancements in the modern medicine. So we still struggle to treat some of these diseases using modern medicine and allopathic medications. And maybe this is the turn of the century opportunity for us to look at how we can use herbal therapies to treat deadly diseases, and also to increase the longevity based longevity with which help in wellness of the human beings. There is no doubt there is a wealth of information on this on herbal medications, which we haven't even explored even 10 to 20% of what this Ayurvedic texts have given us. So we are just concentrating on only few lifestyle related diseases. So it's an opportunity for us to look in beyond that and see whether we can take advantage of this great texts which are available for us to explore. We need to just use them as basis of knowledge, and we should definitely put modern medicine and modern techniques and modern technologies to take this forward. As you all know, that 60% of the modern medicine are discovered using natural resources. So that itself shows that that there is a chemistry in nature, and we need to exploit it and to see how we can find more medicines for deadly diseases. So my request would be to all the proponents of Ayurveda and who really given their entire life, most of them, the speakers and the chairpersons, they have given their entire life to Ayurveda and herbal medicine. So for them, it is in their veins, like that they need to take it forward and put some modern technologies and science to the already existing knowledge of Ayurveda and make it global. So I wish all of you a great success on this occasion, and also I thank Inovocare E-Academy for supporting this this seminar, and I thank you all, and I wish you a happy Independence Day to all of you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your kind keynote address. So we are also today really fortunate to have Dr. R.N. Acharya, sir, who is the Director of Central Council of Research in Ayurveda and Siddhya, CCRAS, Government of India. Welcome you, sir. And I'm requesting you to please give your special address on this occasion.
Thank you, Doctor. At the outset, the participants, all the experts in this today's webinar, we are happy Independence Day, and we are observing the 75th Independence Day of India. And the occasion, on the same occasion, we are also thinking about how we can have a good regarding the contribution of the Charak Samhita and about the importance of classical text of Ayurveda. I beg pardon that I am traveling and there may be some other sounds because I am traveling the public bus. So here the questions, and today we have a good number of experts. Many of them I know personally, and Professor Chattopadhyay, Avichalji, Rachinda Mitra, and my teacher, Professor Tripathi ji, and renowned pharmacologist, Shantanu Tripathi ji here. And they will share as a speaker or a chairman their views regarding the traditional medicines. I will just share what recently Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, is taking steps towards collaborative research. As well spoken by the chairman, by the president of Indian Pharmacological Society, that what we have the evidence, all these things, but we need scientific basis of the scientific basis of the classical texts. In that way, now the Central Council is coming up with many projects to try to have a tie-up with different organizations, because the council, as in the Charak Samhita will found that many drugs are there which are not evaluated till now. Many concept of treatment line are also scientific not evaluated till now, and certain disease conditions prevalence, and particularly the disease we need collaborative research in two fields. One, to create evidences for the scientific pharmacokinetical studies, and other on the clinical studies. And the both way, the Indian Pharmacological Society, we need cooperation from them, and we are doing research in both. We are having research projects with AIIMS New Delhi, and we have also research projects with the ICMR, CSIR, and NIMHANS, all these things, and different aspects of clinical and the pharmacological study. And the better things that we need is here about the number of patients. To create evidence, in the class OPDs of Ayurveda, we don't have that much of patients. So the number of patients, to create a good number of evidence, randomized clinical studies, we need a number of patients which we are having in other OPDs there. In that way, the clinical studies we are working on, particularly NCDs, non-communicable diseases, and we are working on additional hypertension, cancer. We are also working with the Tata Memorial there, and we are working on the psychological disorders with NIMHANS, and AIIMS New Delhi, we are working on wound healing activities. So there are multi-sectoral work, and CCRS is open now to all, and that was the mode of research, it's collaborative. We give the institutions comes forward, and we do provide funding in a collaborative mode. But there is another project in the Ministry of Ayush known as extramural research, where the research funding, the funds is provided directly by the Ministry of Ayush. But CCRS only provides funds in a collaborative mode when both the institutes have the same share the responsibility. So in this way, now there are a lot of scope for this research, and particularly this present government thinking of one nation, one health. Their clinical pluralism, that is we have our ultimate goal is to cure the patient. So there, by any method, any party, if we are having, we can provide good service to the nation. On this, then it will be we can have a well nation, as well told by the introducer, that the purpose of the purpose is to have a good health to the nation. So in the collaborative research one of the best choice. Multi-therapy, that is the drug maybe of herbal or synthetic or any way. The ultimate goal aim should be treatment with different drugs. So with this remarks, I again thank the organizer, Dr. Tripathi, and Dr. T K Mondal, the president of West Bengal branch of IPS, for giving me this opportunity. And I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your kind words, sir. So we have to move forward towards the next scientific session now. And there is one announcement that we have the next speaker, Professor Shashank R. Joshi. But Dr. Shashank R. Joshi had 1 hour back just tell me that he will join later. So he requested me to present on his behalf. I shall try to present on his behalf, but he will join and he will give his scientific inputs at the later of this today's program. So now may I request 2 distinguished chairpersons for this particular session, Professor Shantanu Kumar Tripathi sir, who is a well-known clinical pharmacologist in the country, and he is also now the academic dean of Netaji Subhash Medical College, Patna, and also he is a research director of Institute of Liver Disease, Kolkata, Sonarpur. So welcome you, sir. And also we have Professor Tuhin Kanti Vishwas for this particular session. He is the professor and head at the Department of Kayochikitsha, that is medicine, at J.B. Roy State Ayurvedic Medical College and Hospital, Kolkata. Welcome you, sir. I am requesting both of you to start the session. I shall present on Professor Shashank Joshi's behalf, but Joshi sir will later join at the end of this program maybe. Then he will provide his scientific inputs in this matter. So may I request our chairpersons, honorable chairpersons, to please start the session. I shall start my screen sharing and then we can start for the scientific presentation. Over to sirs.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Tripathi. Dr. Shambo, would you please also mention the title of this first session?
Yes, the session is on importance of Surya Namaskaram in background of metabolic disorders in India.
So I welcome my co-chair, Dr. Tuhin Kanti Vishwas. He's my younger brother and he is now the head of I think Kaya in his institute, Ayurveda Institute, Postgraduate Institute. And I'll first request Dr. Vishwas to have a couple of words, then I'll be also speaking a few words. Dr. Vishwas, please.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to have this chairperson of this particular session. My teacher, Professor Shantanu Tripathi is here. Today, we're happy that the Indian Pharmacological Society has taken the steps to organize these type of these programs, Maharshi Charak Jayanti Mahotsav celebration. And already our previous speakers have mentioned the importance of the Charak Samhita, which is one of the important texts of the Ayurveda. In fact, the text has about 8 sections called Visthana. In each section, the 8 section has specialty of some specific part of the medical science. First section, which is Suprasthana, having 30 chapters. Nidansthana has 8 chapters. Himansthana has 8 chapters. Sadhisthana, which is mainly reading about the anatomical aspects, has 8 chapters. Indrasthana, which is dealing about all the senses and neurological parts. Again, it's got the 12 chapters. And the main part is Chikitsa Sthan, which consists of about 30 chapters. And
Last two are the Kalpatana Siddhanta in each of the 12 chapters. So in each chapter, there are descriptions of the different parts of the treatment. And not only treatment, also regarding the aspects of the anatomical and physiological as well as pathological part of the human system. And the part which is being described by Shambo today, by Surya Namaskar, it is also a part of yoga as well as Ayurveda. You know that in Ayurveda, apart from the treatment to the patient, we also emphasize on prevention of the disease as well as promotion of the health. And that's why in Charak Samhita, in the first chapter of the Charak Samhita, it is mentioned that Swasthasya Shastrakshanam Aturasya Vikarapasam. And the first primary aim is to maintain the health. And then we should think about the treatment of the disease. That may be preventive or will be curative. So first part, that is the preventive aspects. Obviously, we have some particular aspects of maintaining of the health by means of some personal aspects. We call this prakriti, and that can be done in a very specific way. We call it the daily regimen, dinacharya, or the ruticharya, like seasonal regimen, or even during night, what we do, what we take, etc. So Surya Namaskar is a part out of these daily regimen or the seasonal regimen, dinacharya and ruticharya. I think this is a very important topic of today's discussion. So I will request our sir, Dr. Santanu Padi sir, to please introduce some on behalf of our speakers today. I mean, the Padma Shri Shashank Joshi to start his today's speech. Over to Dr. Padi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vishwas. And as I understand that Dr. Padma Shri, Dr. Shashank R. Joshi, who created this presentation, Importance of Surya Namaskaram in Prevention of Metabolic Disorder, Lessons from Charaka to all Rossback and Young. And he is not physically present right now, and he requested Dr. Shambo Samajdar, who is a clinical pharmacologist, who is attached to School of Tropical Medicine now. And he will be rather speaking using the same set of slides that Dr. Shashank Joshi has developed. But we have been told that Dr. Shashank Joshi will be joining soon. And so that if there are questions, comments, and the matter can be discussed further, and Dr. Shashank Joshi will be there to share his wisdom. So this is one thing. The topic that has been chosen is really very interesting in this sense that today, in the backdrop of Charak Jayanti celebration, in ancient Indian medicine, how the importance of preventing diseases have been emphasized. What today we find in modern medicine too, we say that prevention is better than cure. But so many centuries back, it was actually appreciated by Maharshi Charak, and he had advised, he had given many recommendations how we can rather practice a disease-free life. Okay, and as has been mentioned by Dr. Mondal and later on by Dr. Siva Prakash and also Dr. R.N. Acharya, Rabindranath Acharya, that the uniqueness in the ancient medical science of India, which is very very own to India, okay, that it is more of a wellness science, okay, rather than revolving around diseases. So that way, our Maharishis and Charaka is the pioneer in that, has advised us really how to practice a disciplined life and what are the healthy practices so that we can keep away with diseases. One such practice is this Surya Namaskaram. It is very interesting to note that in Surya Namaskaram there are actually 12 different asanas, And out of these 12 different asanas, you know, in a clock, there are 12 hours, okay, a half of the day. So any clock you think of, in a 24-hour cycle, we say AM and PM, but every half of the day, it is 12 hours. And you start with 0 hour, and then you complete one 12-hour cycle. In Surya Namaskar also, there are 12 different positions. Interestingly, 4 of them are in pairs. That means 8 asanas, four pairs of 8 asanas, and the other 4, they are dissimilar. Okay, so there are altogether, practically speaking, then 8 asanas, but then there are 5 cycles of inspiration and expiration. Okay, inhalation and exhalation. One inhalation and exhalation makes one cycle of respiratory cycle, and there are 5 such cycles, and that is actually practiced in these different asanas or different stances, bodily stances. Okay, so it is, you can possibly, which was actually prescribed so many centuries back, and in modern science concept and philosophy, we can well appreciate that how relevant these could be, and we can appreciate that these practices, okay, how they can actually modulate or they can actually discipline our physiology in terms of the homeostasis, okay, whether it is chemical homeostasis, whether it is barohomeostasis, okay. So all these, how it can get our internal body system functions to function in a symphony, to function in a orchestrated manner, and actually tune our systems in a manner so that we do not fall sick. So that is the crux of it. And then we'll try to listen from Dr. Samajdar with the series of slides, how it has been actually presented, that how more categorically, more specifically, Surya Namaskar practices these 5 cycles of respiratory cycles in 12 different asanas, not really 12 different, 8 different asanas, because 4 asanas are in pairs, 4 in the starting and 4 in the towards the end. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9, 10, 11, 12. They are same. While 5, 6, 7, 8, they are dissimilar, they are different. But one complete cycle, this sequential 1 to 12, that makes one complete cycle. And for that, you need to complete 5 respiratory cycles, 5 inhalations and 5 exhalations. And how that is orchestrating our metabolic function, that's what we are going to listen to. To me, it seems extremely scientific, and this is how, in the lens of modern medicine science, how we are looking at the principles that our ancestral forefathers, led by Maharshi Charak, had actually prescribed so many centuries back. So with this few words, let me now stop and request Dr. Shambo to share with us what Dr. Padma Shri Shashank R. Joshi had to share. Thank you very much. Over to Dr. Shambo.
Thank you very much, sir, for your this beautiful introduction to this subject. And this presentation is actually prepared by myself. Dr. Shashank Joshi, sir, actually inspired me to learn a little bit on this topic. So I am really thankful to Professor Shashank Joshi, sir, for giving his input. As we are talking about Surya Namaskaram, the Surya, the sun, starts with S, and today is India's 75th Independence Day. We must appreciate that India is always fortunate to have a very strong background in both science and spirituality. This 2S is combined in this Surya Namaskaram, which has a scientific basis along with a spiritual insights. So with that, I am just want to revisit some findings that from different literatures on this Surya Namaskaram. First of all, for next 10 to 15 minutes, we'll discuss about the relationship between sun and we. Then we'll talk about the biological clock. Then what is actually the Surya Namaskaram? And finally, the effects of Surya Namaskaram on metabolic health. So when we are talking about sun and we all know that from long back, maybe 3,000, 4,000 years back, our morning starts with Surya Namaskaram. But yes, today we forget to do that. But it is very important to note that sun is the only source of light and heat for us as we are living in this planet Earth. And the problem is that it is present periodically. So here, when we are talking about only source of light, maybe for last 100 years or 150 years, when the light, the artificial light is discovered, this relationship little bit hampered. And we are not now solely dependent on sun as a light source. And for that, there are lots of problems what we are having today, what we are perceiving today. Lots of metabolic dysfunctions are happening. Because of that, we are now using some light which is extra than sun. Another important thing is that as the sun is the only source of light and heat, all living organisms in this earth try to adapt their physiology with this variable presence of sun to achieve maximum fitness. So already that system that happens into us, and as earth is rotating on its axis, there are profound changes in temperature and light that available for us. And along with that, what happened into us, there is a development of internal biological clock. And most organisms have that adapted with this type of changes in temperature, light, and other things. And this is going to actually anticipate, this clock is anticipate the day-night cycles and guide organisms in optimizing behavior and physiology. And this is called circadian. This daily rhythm, which is generated internally, is known as circadian. We can see in this very beautiful experiment long back, 250 years back, it was shown that when this tree was put inside, in front of the sun, and then in front of the moon, you can say in the night time what happened to these leaves, we can see from this picture. But after a few days, when they put in this particular tree in a place where light source is not available, there also it was found that they follow the similar pattern of changes in the leaf. So from that time, they had understand what happens in the internal system. They acts like some clock. And there are very important building blocks of this particular circadian system. First of all, this is a self-sustained 24-hour rhythm generator or oscillator. There is an entraining mechanisms that connect the internal oscillator to external stimuli. And this external stimuli is also known as zeitgebers or timekeepers. And very important zeitgebers is the light. And finally, there should be an output mechanisms for allowing the timely schedule of different physiological processes. And this is a picture of our internal clock, how different genes like PER, PER genes or time genes, how they are sequencing with this time plus period, and they entered into the nucleoli, and there is the translation happen. And the light source, the sun, is the most important zeitgebers which help to internalize another important protein that is known as cry, which helps to have a good this transcription translational feedback system inside us. And if there is some disruption happen, there will be some problems. So this is actually the normal physiology by which normal physiological clock or biological clock that inside our body, how it maintains and where the different time points are important. Just like that, we can see here from 6 a.m. the cortisol release started. And we all know that there is an early morning surge of blood pressure because of these different hormones like cortisols, like sympathetic nervous system activity. Because at night time, what happened? The parasympathetic nervous system is the predominant one to control us. But when we are waking up, our sympathetic nervous system starts acting. And for that, there is the place where the steepest rise in the blood pressure happens. And then that is the period when we have the highest alertness. And after that, maybe between 12 to 4, we have some best coordination or fastest reaction times. And at the evening time, we have the highest body temperature. Then at around 6:30, we have the highest blood pressure. Then from 9 p.m., the melatonin secretion starts. And that is the time when our sympathetic nervous system going to be stopped and the parasympathetic nervous system starts its activity. And we have a deepest sleep and lowest body temperature between 2 to 4 a.m. So this is the cycle which is normal in us. And when we are talking about this circadian rhythm, the internal body clock, which is maintaining this rhythm, it actually regulates the 24-hour cycle of biological processes in different animals and plants also, responds primarily to light and darkness in an organism's environment, sleeping at night and being awake during the day. It is a perfect example for us who have this light-related circadian rhythm. This influences the sleep-wake cycles, different release of hormones, eating habits, digestion, body temperature, blood pressure, and other important bodily functions. And what happens if these biological clocks run fast or slow or reverse? It results in disruption in the circadian rhythm. So there will be a circadian dysrhythmia, or this type of irregular rhythm leads to different sleep disorders, obsessive compulsive disorders, obesity, hypertension, diabetes mellitus. So how this can be targeted? What are the ways by which it can be targeted? One of the very key component is this Surya Namaskaram. As Professor Shantanu Kumar Tripathi sir was mentioning different 12 components of this particular practice, Surya Namaskaram, we can see here in this diagram how these 12 are there. And as sir was mentioning, almost there is 6 exercise which is very much identical. 4 exercise. So from 1 to 4, you can see here this 1 to 4, 1 to 5, and again, if you just see from 8 to 12, so they are all almost equal, and only these 2 exercise which are not equal. So 5 plus 5 and another is this 2. There are different bodies which prescribe different types of Surya Namaskaram. I am not going in details of that because I am not that specialist of this particular Surya Namaskaram. But these are the 12 different postures, like starting from the prayer pose to raised arms pose to hand to foot pose, then equestrian pose, then mountain pose, then salute with 8 chords or points, then cobra pose, then again mountain pose, equestrian pose, hand to foot pose, raised arm pose, and finally the prayer pose. And there are different spiritual connect also with some specific mantra. It could be taken or not taken, but there are some spiritual link with these different postures. And that is why in the beginning, what we had mentioned, there is a strong connection between spirituality and science here. So what are the different benefits of Surya Namaskar? There are lots of clinical studies had been conducted with Surya Namaskar, and it was found to be beneficial in terms of physiological functions like regaining the physiological benefits like decreasing the BMI. It has been found to be important. Regarding the endocrine function, it was found that different hormones, specifically the growth hormone, and one study was conducted with dihydroepiandrosterone. So it was found that they increase with this Surya Namaskaram practice, where there was some deficiency. In patients who were suffered from acute coronary syndrome, it was found in a small subgroup, this practice reduces the cholesterol, triglyceride, and LDL level. It improves the muscle and joint activity. There are studies done by different PMR colleagues, and also it was found to improve the FEV1 in the pulmonary function test. It was found to be beneficial in terms of FEV1 improvement. Also, in the reduction of fatty liver and some reduction of kidney disease, like improvement in EGFR value. There are some small studies which suggest that Surya Namaskar benefit in these subsets. So there are some specific chakra which was theoretically there with this Surya Namaskaram, and which is located with different anatomical position, and primarily they are correlated with different endocrine functions, as we can see here, like starting from the Mooladhara, which is always there with a different anatomical positioning of this Surya Namaskaram, which has a direct relationship with gonads. This Swadhisthana chakra is related with coccyx, where the genital organs are there to be controlled. There is one chakra called Manipura, which is specific for that sixth position of Surya Namaskaram, where its anatomical location is navel, which controls the gastric glands, pancreas, and adrenals. Like this, there are different chakras and subsequent anatomical locations, which is related with different physiological functions of endocrine organs. Now coming to these three great men who had invented or revisited or re-emphasized the importance of biological clock, and they were the Nobel laureate. So they had emphasized the importance of internal clock, how we should give a special note on improving the circadian rhythm. So with that, we always need to believe there were in the Charak Samhita from long back, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 years back, we have a long tradition to follow this type of principles of maintaining the circadian rhythm, and how this can be improved with scientific evidences that we should now focus. And with that, I want to stop here. And if you, I request the participants or respected delegates, if you have any comments, please share with us. And Dr. Shashank sir will join us at the later. He will also there to answer your questions. Thank you. Over to respected chairpersons.
Dr. Bishwas, if you have some comments, please go ahead.
I think Dr. Shambo has elaborated in detail about the importance of Surya Namaskar, particularly for specific control of specific diseases, in special the endocrine disorders. And I think there are so many research work are conducted in the different aspects of yoga, including this particular Surya Namaskar, and this is going to be important. I think Dr. Shambo has described in detail, and no need to have anything to add on it from my point of view.
If there are questions and comments from the listeners, from the audience. and other experts who are there.
Yes, sir. I am Ravinaran here.
Yes, sir.
Really, many scientific studies are also now on the process at SBS University on this Surya Namaskar, and many other authors presented many studies are already published. But along with Surya Namaskar, also certain medications of Ayurvedic drugs can be added, and there also we can have some good research projects on many disease conditions. That's my point of view, sir. We have good reports on exclusively yoga, but when yoga and Ayurveda will be combined, we can come up with some better results, sir. That's my point, sir. Thank you, sir.
I think Dr. Avichal Chattopadhyay has to say something. I'll request the organizers to unmute Dr. Avichal Chattopadhyay. And Dr. Lopamudra has raised a question. What are the contraindications of Surya Namaskar? So if Dr. Shambo would like to very quickly respond to that, contraindications of Surya Namaskar. And meanwhile, I'll request the organizers to unmute Dr. Avichal Chattopadhyay.
Yeah. Sir, actually, I had unmuted, sir. Dr. Avichal Chattopadhyay, sir, can comment. We can hear him, sir.
Dr. Avichal, if you can come up, please.
Yes, I am asking to unmute just for my lecture, next lecture.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
And
regarding the
contraindication, yes.
Yeah, the specific musculoskeletal issues, we should advise our patients not to do this type of Surya Namaskaram. Otherwise, we can have, this is a very safe practice, Surya Namaskaram. There are some modifications because many older patients cannot perform this Surya Namaskaram accurately. So there are some specific modifications by which they can practice Surya Namaskaram. And it is always better to consult a trained yoga person because this is a little bit complicated one to remember each steps. So initially it is better to perform Surya Namaskaram supervised under a trained yoga specialist.
Okay, thank you. There is another question that has come up. Dr. Rajashri Bhattacharya, how Surya Namaskaram help in maintaining chemical homeostasis?
Yes,
it's a very big question.
Yeah,
and long question rather. But there has been lot of research and lot of experimentation have been done, and people have shown the impact of Surya Namaskar on chemical homeostasis. And particularly, as Dr. Shambo has also mentioned, that how Surya Namaskar can actually modulate the endocrine function. And these endocrine functions in their turn will also help in modulating and modifying the chemical homeostasis in terms of whether you say that oxygenation or oxygen saturation, or say the chemoreceptor trigger zone activation, etc., etc. Okay, pH of blood, all these can be impacted because they are so much interlinked and interrelated. Okay, but again, it all depends on how much this is being done. Okay, this means that dose of Surya Namaskar, as I understand that one cycle of or one complete process of Surya Namaskar will involve 5 complete respiratory cycles. Okay, so 5 inhalations and 5 exhalations will make it a complete Surya Namaskar practice. And as we know, the respiratory rate is around, say, 20 per minute. So truly speaking, 20 minutes, 20 complete respirations. So that means 1/4 of that would be required. 1/4 of that would be required, in fact, to complete. So now the question is, although the very name suggests sun salutation or Surya Namaskar, that as the sun is rising, that may be the right time, or that has been otherwise prescribed at the right time for Surya Namaskar. But then in other times of day, if the Surya Namaskar is practiced, how it is going to impact, there has been a lot of work already done in the literature, but it is also an interesting area for further research also. I was just wondering how the Surya Namaskar practice could also try to impact on the autonomic function, okay, of our system, the autonomic neurofunction, how it can be modulated, as Dr. Shambo has mentioned, that the night time is the time for the parasympathetic division, parasympathetic function, and the daytime is more for the sympathetic function. But that doesn't mean that in the different day or night, the other system of autonomic, whether it is sympathetic or parasympathetic, that remains totally okay, subdued or totally not functioning. That's not, but it is a kind of maintaining a balance, and whereby the dominance of parasympathetic is during the night time, that is rest and digest, and the dominance of sympathetic is during the day. But how one can discipline that also, and through disciplining the autonomic system, how you can also otherwise govern, although autonomic is self-governing, but how you can also help your lung and the heart function and the GIT, all those viscera, all those organs that are otherwise activity of which are controlled by the autonomic system, how that can be to a certain extent through the Surya Namaskar practices, how that can be disciplined, how that can be orchestrated in a manner or tuned in a manner so that ultimately benefits the practitioner of Surya Namaskar. So maybe it also requires further research in this in order to measure the impact of this objectively on these different parameters, biomedical and chemical parameters. So there could be scope for further research in these areas. I think with this, we can keep on discussing it further, but for the scarcity of time, we'll prefer to close this session with a huge thanks to Dr. Shambo Samajdar. I find there are a couple of more comments. I just mentioned that, not necessary to respond that right now. Maybe some of these questions we can keep for Dr. Shashankar Joshi when he joins. He can respond to them. One is, can Surya Namaskar cure OCD, obsessive compulsive disorders, sleep disorders, etc.? Have there been any studies done? This is one question. Dr. Shambo, you can remember them and put them to Dr. Shashank Joshi.
Here just I want to mention one thing. There is two type of Surya Namaskaram. One is slow Surya Namaskaram and one is fast Surya Namaskaram. So it was seen that in patients who has little bit depressive disorder, they are more benefited with fast type of Surya Namaskaram. Whereas when there is some patients, which is specifically, this was a study conducted in child who are that attention deficit hyperkinetic disorders, a child, it was found that when there is they practice the slow type of Surya Namaskaram, they become benefited. So there are lots of studies also conducted in sleep quality and sleep pattern. So it was found to be beneficial in those groups. I think Professor Shwanand Pathak is there, sir. So may I request for another 1 minute for him, because he is a very senior professor of pharmacology, and we are really fortunate to have him. He is the professor and head of pharmacology at the Wardha Medical College at Maharashtra. So welcome, sir. If you have any comments, sir, I am just requesting you to make this comment. Then we'll move forward towards the next session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I will be very quick in my comments since we are already being late, or we want to move quickly to the next of the presentation. So just a couple of our experiences as far as the Surya Namaskaram is concerned. Two of the elements where we tried it and very successfully on the patients, even in the modern medicine. One was for the ulcer healing, for the healing of ulcers, and second was for in the tuberculosis patients. And we had seen that there is excellent results of this Surya Namaskaram when we use this in the patients with chronic ulcers, where the ulcers are not healing for a long duration of time. And secondly, in the case of patients with tuberculosis. In patients with tuberculosis, it works very excellently. Probably this is what is an helicotherapy, which was developed in the modern medicine also, in the form of the sun bath, in the form of the using of the energy or the rays from sunlight early in the morning. And secondly, just our experience that in some of the patients, as being rightly mentioned, if the patients are very old, then it becomes very difficult to have that posture, standing postures, and the other postures of Surya Namaskar. For them, a chair Surya Namaskar is another of the methodology that is being developed, and that is something which is very convenient for old patients. I will say the patients who are 65 plus, if they are not able to go for the Surya Namaskara or the typical Surya Namaskara, this is the modification which is there, the chair Surya Namaskara. Even all the steps which are there in the Surya Namaskara can very well be performed while the patient is comfortably being sitting on the chair. So these are some of our experiences, my experiences. Just I wanted to share with you, sir. That is all from my side, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So as we are running short of time, we have to move forwards towards the next session. And the topic is the relevance of principle of treatment in Charak Samhita in the present era. And for that, we have two distinguished chairpersons with us, Professor Paresh Chandra Tripathi, who is the ex-professor at the Department of Kayochikitsha, Institute of PG Ayurvedic Education and Research, Kolkata. Welcome you, sir. And second chairperson is our father figure, one of the father figure of Indian Pharmacological Society, West Bengal Chapter, Professor Shushanto Bandyopadhyay, sir. Professor Shushanto Bandyopadhyay was ex-director and medical education and ex-officio secretary of Government of West Bengal. Welcome you, sir. Over to our respected chairpersons for this topic. Professor Shushanto Bandyopadhyay, sir, are you there? Sir, you have to unmute.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Sir, Professor Paresh Chandra Tripathi, sir, actually your name is not there, so we are a little bit confused.
Okay.
So we are renaming you, sir.
Yes.
Please, sir, please proceed for the session.
I like to thanks the organizers, those who had taken the attempt to celebrate Charak Jayanti now, and I welcome all the distinguished professors, scholars, and Ayurveda loving persons present in this webinar. Ayurveda, the ancient Indian system of medicine, is a testimony of the golden era of Indian culture. Ayurveda is believed to come from the knowledge of Brahma and also believed to be a part of Atharva Veda. Acharya Charak was one of the principal contributors of Ayurveda, who lived around 200 BC. He was born in Kapilashta village of Panchanada, presently in Punjab or Kashmir states. Historians have different views on his biography, so I don't like to elaborate that. After completing his education, Acharya Charak started serving people to uplift the society. He used to roam whole of India to treat people, and because of it, he became famous. It is believed that because of his nature of roaming, he came to be known as Charak, Charaiveti, as the word Charak means to walk also. In his time, Agnivesh Tantra, one of the classical texts, became greatly mutilated, scattered over many places with the passage of time, and became unfit for study. Noticing the pitiable state of this text of Agnivesh, Acharya Charak redacted it, means revised, and made some alterations when required and made it suitable for study. After that, these texts became more popular as Charak Samhita and established as foremost reference text of Ayurveda. To know and understand Ayurveda, it is important to understand the principles of treatment of Charak. I am happy that one of my friend, Professor Avichal Chattopadhyay, is here to discuss on the relevance of principle of treatment in Charak Samhita in the present era. He is an erudite scholar with profound knowledge in both theory and practice of Charak Samhita, who completed MD and PhD from Gujarat Ayurveda University and honored as Fellow of the Rashtriya Ayurveda Vidyapith. And he was a faculty of the Institute of Postgraduate Ayurvedic Education and Research in Kolkata, recently retired. He has guided many MD and PhD scholars and published many books. I'll be happy to be a student today to listen the lecture of Professor Chattopadhyay. I'll request Professor Chattopadhyay to speak. Before that, I'll request Professor Bandyopadhyay to say something if he is present here. Over to Professor Bandyopadhyay.
Good afternoon, everybody. And I wish, first of all, everybody of this country the Amrit Mahotsav of 75 years of independence. It's really a great occasion for each and every Indian, and simultaneously the tremendous coincidence that the Jayanti of the Charaka is also the same day. My dear friends, actually, we call the we differentiate that indigenous system of medicine, we differentiate modern system of medicine, we claim. But actually, the basis of medicine, but the history tells that the history of modern medicine may be thousands and thousands of years, but we did not get the aura, even not nevertheless less than 100 years. So before that, the whole human community were basically dependent on this indigenous system of medicine. But I am very sorry to simultaneously, this system of medicine is very much neglected, ignored. Department of Ayush, Government of India spends crores of rupees. I personally know when I was Director of Medical Education, I tried my level best to develop Ayush in my state, but really I was not so much successful in that way. But still, we are celebrating today, and it's a great occasion that we have assembled all the systems of medicine of the pharmacology people are here, and definitely it's a great occasion for me. Actually, I was out of station, that was a problem, and I can say, actually I can see that a late deliberation will be on the relevance of principles of treatment of Charak and Samhita. We are taking the oath of Charak Samhita. That's a very big thing nowadays. So I will not take much time. In the other way, I will request perhaps Abichal Chattopadhyay, who will deliver the relevance of principles of treatment of Charaka Samhita in the present era. And I think it's really, there is a highly relevance. So with these few introductory words, I request Avichal Chattopadhyay to continue his deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. First of all, at the very outset of this session, I would like to acknowledge my gratitude to my respected professor, Dr. Paresh Chandra Tripathi ji, and the other Professor Shanta Bandyopadhyay. Really, I am happy that they have invited me to share my views on the principles of treatment Charasumhita in the present era in this session. Practically, the previous lecture has been delivered on the Adrabhyahuta Chikitsa. Previously, it was not accepted by the modern personalities that there is some Adrabhyahuta Chikitsa. But now it has been recognized, and as a result, the Adrabhyahuta Chikitsa, like Surya Namaskar, has been elaborated properly with the scientific documentation. But the thing is that the concept of Ayurveda is based on some basic principles. The principles is not made in a day or a year, but it required maximum times to establish something. And first principles or first sutra of our system of Charasumhita is that Hetulingo Shodok Jnanam Sastatura Paranam Tisuttam Shaswadam Punnam Buddhe Yuktam. It may be probably difficult for you to follow the Sanskrit word, but I will explain it in English. But as it is Charak Jayanti, therefore it is my duty to learn this as written in Sanskrit. Hetu means the etiological factor, Lingo means the sign and symptom, and Aushad means the drugs or the medicaments, what is required to prevent and to cure the disease. So the etiological factors, sign and symptoms, and the medicaments, both are required for the healthy as well as for the diseased person. So if anyone is well acquainted with this, definitely that physician will be able to cure the disease properly. It is right. Somebody says that it is the book of prevention, but not at all. So many diseases are being cured by the Ayurvedic by the administration of the Ayurvedic medicaments, which has been written in the Chikitsastan of Charasumhita. Now, in the era also, it is very relevant. If we see that any disease, suppose tuberculosis, definitely the organism or the etiological factor of the tuberculosis is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And there is also some manifestation, and specific drug is also mentioned in the present era. Like that, in the previous era, in the ancient era also, this tuberculosis was also nomenclatured as Rajyashma. But the primary microorganism was Jakshma, because Rajapoditam Avalam Jakka Soshinam Avisha. That means that Soshi or the moon is being just included with the or occluded with the Tomo and Rajo, and therefore he was being exposed. And as a result of that, Jokka, the term Jakshma, which one later on being recognized as Mycobacterium tuberculin, entered in the body of Soshi and produced the disease Rajyashma. Like that, leprosy was the mycobacterium leprosy was there, and that produced the disease Kushto, one type of skin disease. So Hetu is definitely there. Specific disease was produced due to particular organism. Likewise, there was some disease which was caused due to the metabolic disorders or lifestyle disorders. But the disease was manifested, every disease was manifested with its specific characteristics and cardinal sign and symptom. Nowadays, we see that there is typhoid fever, there is malaria fever, and other fevers also. But previously, in the ancient time, Jor was the prime disease mentioned in the 3rd chapter of Chikitsa. Therefore, Jor was being categorized with the characteristics like Shedavarab, Santap, and Sarvambhuru. That means sweating was not there. There is maximum temperature and there is severe pain all over the body. So these 3 characteristics was present simultaneously at a time in any type of jar. Then another different types of jar like Bishamot jar, Santata jar, Satata jar, Onnodushka jar. But now nomenclature are different types of jar like malaria, typhoid as Sonipat jar, malaria as Bishamot jar, and there and specific drugs was also mentioned for to encounter the particular disease. Like for the disease Jakshma, specific drug was mentioned. But now the nature of the mycobacterium tuberculin has been changed. Therefore, we have now that this disease is now being treated with different types of medicaments, with modern medicaments, and definitely that is very much fruitful. Therefore, now it is not the time to experiment it because the established drug is there. But it is, of course, the principles which is written in context to the treatment of Rajyakshma, that is Purish Samraksham. That means when the patient is suffering from the disease Rajyakshma, the stool is not properly formed. So when that patient who is passing the ill-formed stool and taking the modern medicine, definitely there is probabilities of different types of adversities. As a result of that, the patient who are taking the modern medicine without considering the condition of the stool, they used to develop different types of adversities like liver disorders, like and other disorders. Therefore, some Dipana and Pachano or carminative and digestive drugs like Mustha and Chitra, this type of drug, if used prior to the administration of the drug, modern antituberculin drug, then definitely it will be effective because at that time, by the use of Mutha, Chitra, etc., Cyprus rotundas and others, then definitely the ingested food materials will be properly digested. As a result of that, that will be able to fit the body or compatible to take the antituberculin drug, modern medicine, which will not cause any type of adversities in future. Now, next one is Sarvada Sarvahanam Samanam Vidikardam. Hashayati Vishasya Pavitrugashu. It's very simple. The Samanna Vidikardam. So, if the blood is lost, even then that blood was being just blood was given in different ways, not in the parental way, but in different way by the way of basti or enema, the Rakta was given. Like that, when there is maximum hash or Mangsha hash or Mangsha chai or degeneration of the tissues, is required to administer such type of medicine or medicaments which is capable to enhance the reduced tissues. Naturally, the Vidya and Has, both the therapy, both the condition are occurred at a time. So if the water is lost, if the electrolyte balance is lost, or if the calcium is being, or if the potassium is being increased, or sodium is decreased, definitely the patient is required to take sodium and potassium as and when required. And that proves the sutra of Sarvada Sarvanam Samannam Vitikaranam Hashayati Vivasya Povitri. Of course, you may think it is a very simple thing, but in the way which has been mentioned in the ancient era is still relevant. And now you see, Prosamma Usadam Purvo, Doiva Jukti Napasai. Manasho Ganavikyana, Dojja Smriti Samadhi. Doiva Jukti Napasai. Doiva Napasai and Jukti Napasai. In context of Surya Namaskar, Doiva Napasai Chikitsa is being incorporated. And Jukti Napasai means considering the condition of the patient and the stage of the disease, we have to choose the drugs which are very much fruitful to encounter the disease or to combat the disease in specific. So the stage of the disease is very much important. Subsequently, the condition of the patient is also very important. But prior to treat the disease, physical disease, it is very much important to enhance the psychological endurance power by Jnana, Vijnana, Dhairya, Smriti and Samadhi. That means if the patient who is suffering from the disease, if its Jnana, Vijnana, Dhairya and Smriti are being increased by the administration of so many drugs like Midrashayam, which will be able to enhance the psycho-endurance, definitely that will be fruitful. Next one, Samsadam, so you see, our fundamental principle is Apakarshana Mevadu, Kiminam Veshomitam, Atavika the Prophet, Inanam Virginashacha, Oil Vikarang, Salvation of People. Apakarshana Mevadu, Kiminam Veshomitam. Suppose a person is suffering from bone marrow cancer. Definitely, if the replacement is required, bone marrow replacement is required, if that is not being cured by the medicaments, oral medicaments, definitely that requires the bone marrow transplantation. But prior to that, depletion of the bone marrow is required by radiotherapy and chemotherapy, which is to be regarded as identical to that of the apocrine. So forceful expulsion of the bone marrow, and definitely at that after that it requires to administer such type of drug which will be compatible enough to produce the Majja in the body, because RBC is being reduced in case of Majja or bone marrow destruction, and WC count is increased. Therefore, it requires to enhance the bone marrow by different methods. And in our text, or in Arabic text, it is written that, or in Charak Jayanti it is written that Majja pan, or the goat's Majja, bone marrow, is required to take by the patient. But definitely, if we administer Majja, whether the Majja will be increased? Of course not. If there is any pathology which will obstruct to ingest or to get compatible, or to get compatible the body in a position to digest that Majja, then the Majja will not be increased. Therefore, always the same dhatus, if we produce, will not be able to increase the body materials or the tissue material. Naturally, we require to discard that basic components responsible for the production of blood disease, and then only we may administer Majja in terms of transplantation also, and or the compatibility will make the body cured from the bone marrow destruction. Now, the four factors are there Yeah, one is drabbo or the drugs. Another is the poricharo, or who will look after the patient. Another is a physician, and another is a physician, drug, bone marrow, and the nurses. The four factors, and four factors are definitely responsible to make cure of any patient, because all are important. So then only the dhatu shammo of the homeostasis can be mentioned. The dhatu shammo, how we can estimate the dhatu shammo? Dhatu shammo or homeostasis is to be estimated by some subjective parameters. Always the patient is unable to be investigated with the costly investigation, by some costly investigation, because our poor patient is required to be diagnosed by the cost-effective measures, and therefore the subjective parameters which was previously practiced by the clinical physician is required even nowadays. Then only the clinically four factors. Suppose what about the sleep, about the digestion, about the appetite, about the defecation, and about the urination. These four factors, clinical factors, are much more to make a conclusion whether the patient is in a homeostatic condition or not. Because our patient is very much poor. It is not that everybody will be able to investigate all the things which has been prescribed by the modern doctors. It is not, it is required. But how many percent is capable to perform these things? It is also to be justified, required to be justified. Now, next one is that anything which you are giving, we cannot say it is a medicine. Medicine is that that means if I administer some drug, and if that will produce some that means if that produce some adversities, that cannot be said, that cannot be defined at Nashu Vishuddha, that cannot be defined as the treatment. Shuddhastu Samajdar. The treatment is that which will not causes any adversities, but subsequently will maintain the homeostasis. But nowadays, so many drugs are there which causes adversities. But for the timing, it requires, but simultaneously, our doctors, our modern doctors are very much capable, very potent to tackle the condition, adverse condition. Therefore, but we have to keep in mind that the medicine should be given which will not cause any types of adversities. Now, it is not that it is written in the Charak Samhita abnormally, or we can say that it is a pseudoscience, or we can say that evidence-based medicine is the medicine. But when there is no evidence, there is no evidence when no medicine. But whether we can say that no medicine is equal to no evidence, now it is the time to clarify. Now, our science in Charak Samhita also, it is mentioned that Siddhanta Nama Sahaja Parikshakai Gaurvida Pariksha Sarpatanidna. That means it has already been examined and established truth which has been observed, re-observed, experimented, hypothesis, re-experimented, and then conclusion has been made. So many process are being made to establish a conclusion. Now the time is that there is a Patitantra Siddhant, Sarvatantra Siddhant, Adhikaran Siddhant, and Bhupagam Siddhant. Patitantra Siddhant, there may be so rational thoughts about the modern medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. But some medicine which are very much specific for some Ayurveda may not be specific for some modern medicine. Modern medicine, we are not very much well acquainted with the modern medicine, but we cannot say we really now it is a time whether cause therapy is required to be legalized. I think cause therapy is very much difficult to be legalized because time has come. Ayurvedic person is to be well acquainted with the Ayurvedic concept, with the modern perspective, then only they can treat the patient properly. Because when the patients come to us, they are being treated by so many allopathic doctors. Then they come to us with the hope that they will be treated with a cost-effective medicine, and that will be and they will be cured. But now you see, previously in the pandemic area, pandemic time, the Obubam Siddhant was followed by the modern doctors also, by the allopathic doctors. It is not incorrect, but for the time, as the time requires, they are giving the empirical drugs. But Obubam Siddhant is that Obubam Namo Siddhanto, Namo Jam Asiddha, Aparikshita, Anupatishta, Ahetu. See, 4 factors are there: Asiddham, unestablished, unexperimented, Anupatishtam, and Ahetu. But still, it is termed as Siddhanta. It is written in Charak Samhita, Vimastan 8th chapter. So, by the concept of Obubam Siddhanta, or by the hypothesis that drug was given, and it is seen that so many patients who are suffering from COVID-19, they are cured. But now it is saying that no, those drugs are not very much fruitful. Those are not very much effective. Now it is not required. Now the time has changed, and the concept has also been changed. So as the time requires, it requires to administer the drugs, but definitely that drug should not produce any type of adversities. So we also use some drugs which may not be useful at the time, but at the same time may be useful. And you see, in the ancient time, in Charak Samhita there is saying, Nahi Sarva Vikarana Namoto Dvasti. Nahi Sarva Vikarana Namoto Dvasti. That means all that at that time, all the disease cannot be nomenclature. So that time it was not nomenclature, but this time it is being nomenclature. Therefore, there is no differentiation. Only the thing on the basis of our concept, we have to treat the patient properly. It has been said, and Rogamadu Purichet, Tadantara Mosham, Tadakarma Pachata Ganapuram. At first, the rog of the disease is to be examined properly, then the disease, then the drug is to be examined, and then the physician will fix the protocol of the treatment, and then accordingly the treatment will be started. Now, this is the very important thing. You see, Ayurveda has given only emphasis on Agni. Agni dosha manusyanam roga sangha pitak. Manavidya pavantante visheshana udarani. Agni dosha is the prime factor for the production of any types of disease. Now, modern personalities may not be well acquainted with the Agni dosha. Agni is identical to that any type of enzymes, any types of responsible for the digestion, absorption, metabolism. And this Agni is responsible for the production of the gut immunity. If the gut immunity is absolute, definitely there will be no disease because immunity will be at the maximum level. So nowadays, it is said that if the gut immunity is hampered, there is the probabilities of any type of systemic disease, like renal disease, like skin disease, like hypertension, cardiac disease, all types of disease will be produced due to the impaired gut immunity. Definitely at that time, Agni is to be maintained properly, and therefore our primary aim is to that. Trayavikara Prayanajo, Paraspara Hetogo, Harsha Otisarasya, Gonido Sevocho, Esham only Bali Hine, Vidya Porikso, Tasmatoni Golokong, Esham Tishu. So primarily, Harsha Otisaran Goni, also means piles, diarrhea, and irritable bowel syndrome, or GI tract problem. All are being caused mainly due to Agni. But it is not that. It is only those are caused due to Agni. But Esham Agni Bali Hine, Vidya Porikto, Tasmat Agni Bolokong, Esham Tishu. So Agni ball is to be protected properly. That means we have to maintain the gut immunity in such a way so that there will be no disease in future, or our homeostasis will be maintained properly. So immunity, either innate immunity and adaptive immunity, in terms of T-cell immunity or other immunity, all can be incorporated under this phenomena. So Agni dosh or Agni or maintain the gut immunity, and nowadays it is also said that so many diseases can be caused due to gut immunity, and that is to be prevented properly. Now you see, in the present era, it has seen that maximum patients are suffering from cancer, and it is a very problem. And our text has also given the identical sign and symptom that that means there is a palpable mass, and that is osmomat ghananotam. That means stony dullness, and there is there, and that is termed as gulmu. So that disease at that time was termed as gulmu, but in this time that may be correlated with the cancer, malignancy. So you should be very much aware of that. And at that time, the line of treatment of our line of treatment is to be properly maintained. Now, see, in Rajyaksma also, Pantabuddhamsam Chakasham, Cha Sharaved Orochako. So if there is a tuberculosis in throat, then Pantabuddhamsam or there is a hoarseness of the voice, all will be covered. Or if there is a tuberculosis in the thanks, then there is a Parsasulam and Borthaveda Gurustam. If there is in the anus, then there is a Borthaved, and in the diarrhea, Dimba Jaramka Sandisto, and if the Sandhi is affected or the joints is affected with the Rajyaksma, then definitely there is a jaw and Urosta, and there is a Uro. If the chest is affected, there is a severe pain. Now, let us discuss about another one very much important psychological disease. The very cardinal sign, even till that it is persisting, or it is mentioned in the modern book. Unmada puna monobuddhi, smiti sangha, sangha, jnano, smiti, bhakti, shira, chesta, achara, vibhor. These are the cardinal signs and symptoms of unmad or any psychological problems. Monobuddhi, that means mind cannot be able to grasp the matter properly. Buddhi is lost, or gain, or smriti, memory, all are being impaired. Bhakti, shila, chesta, the normal phenomena, psychological phenomena are being altered in case of unmad. So that is very important. And in Apashmar, smriti buddhi, that means memory is lost, and there will be vivasta chesta. That means there will be a convulsion will be there. So cardinal signs has been mentioned in different way in the way of the in Sanskrit language that is required to be presented with the modern language, and but the sign and symptom, the historical factor which has been mentioned at that time, still it is relevant in this time, and the treatment also is very important and also relevant. And you see, in case of cancer, Marujam Davapuritam, Osmubat Ghananatam, Shikra Vidai Dharnam, Manashwari Ognivala Haparanam, Tida Suja Gulmam Asatwans. So if the patient at the fourth stage of cancer, he will come to us with the severe pains, severe burning sensation, and the Osmubat Ghananatam and severely stony dullness features, and Shikra Vidai rapidly spreading, and Manashwari Ognivala, that is mind, physics, and Ognivala digestion is totally get hampered, and as a result of that, that will produce a Tidosha Gulmo or Licha Gulmo identical to that of the any types of third or fourth stage of malignancy. That is to be treated properly, but Asaddhavadi we cannot treat. Like that, some treatment, it is also written that all we cannot treat. Something is Anushangina, always relapsing in nature. Something we can treat. Some diseases we cannot treat, asaddha, incurable. Some diseases is sustainable. But you see, Jataprami Mudumainaba, Nasaduktam Shaibijodosad, Jechapike Chitkulajabikara, Bhavantitam, Bhavanti Asanta. Now, Jataprami, diabetes is a very important disease nowadays. And if it is Jataprome, juvenile diabetes, hereditary disease, then or any congenital disease, it is Asadhya. So if the patients come to any Ayurvedic doctor, if they say that okay, Promeo will be cured, no, Promeo Anusangina. Then Promeo is always Anusangin nature. Therefore, it requires to be treated with some medicine at all along his life, span of life. So it is not that anything is deferred with the modern era. In the modern era. Then if we see that we are giving some medicine, but it is not fruitful at all. Even the best medicine, the best protocol, the best management, medicaments has been defined, but still the patient is not being cured. Then we have to understand the patient is that means it is incurable because the patient has lost his osukko, oroti, patient is suffering from oroti, moho, and indriyonas. That means sensory and motor nervous system, loss of sensory and motor function system. Now, in the pandemic or epidemic condition, karma panchavitam kesham bhusham paramuch. Now, panchakarma is nowadays very important management. Panchakarma is the panchakarma therapy. So that therapy is very important. And when the body is full of free radicals due to the impairment of the ovary, when the body is full of free radicals, then definitely that free radicals, accumulated free radicals, is required to be expelled out properly. What I have told you, the apaportion megadu kinang mission. That means it should be expelled out properly with the bamana, with the virechana, by the induction of some drug. Nowadays also the modern science is also asking to justify the condition of the patient's post or the abdomen, whether he is passing the stool properly or not. That is being examined properly, and if it is not, then therefore virechana as suitable is to be given properly. And in pandemic condition, prior to the onset of the pandemic, if the patient takes the panchakarma properly at that area, if the physician can understand, or the scientist can understand, there is an probability for the occurrence of that disease, epidemic, endemic, or pandemic disease. Definitely, prior to the onset of the disease, they will perform the panchakarma by the specific Ayurvedic physician. Now, you see, in modern era, time to time, different types of theories are altered. Some alteration is taking place for the management of different diseases. Now, in our text, in Charashogiri's time, Langunam Shadam Kalu, Javagu Tiktakarasho, Pachanan Aponopikan, Pachanam Purnote. So if there is any types of fever, then definitely food is to be taken in such a way so that the food will not feel any discomfort and the food will be digested properly. That is a very important thing. And the other factors, the other therapies also mentioned. I am not mentioning that due to the lack of time. And next one is very important. You see, Sulap Ponamei Pologaniko, just like a Podurgalashu. Some being among the Pisha Chicago, Karja Shamshodanum, that means the patient is suffering from either diabetes 1 or diabetes 2 mellitus, diabetes mellitus, and then if there is thulaplomy, if the patient is obese, but ultimately he will be emaciated with the application of Promeo. Then it requires the Shamshodanam. At the time of obese condition, it requires the purification properly. But for Pisho, which is already emaciated and suffering from Promeo, he requires to give the Bringonosud. But simultaneously, he should have the qualities to combat Promeo, like Shataburi or Asparagus racimosa, etc. So it is very important. And simultaneously, some physical exercise or BAM, Yoga Vividoi, Pogari Udvarton, or severe massage is required. And other drugs have to be required. Now you see, in the present era, different types of diseases are being produced due to the incompatible diet, intake of junk food. We are not maintaining our body properly as prescribed by the acharyas or by the modern doctors, that you should take this and this drug. You should follow this regime during the day, during the season. We are taking the any types of fruits at any season. We are taking the foods without heating it properly. We are taking the foods directly from the fridge, and we are taking the foods which are being boiled by the oil, several types of oil. Naturally, that will produce different free radicals inside the body. So, so if the disease is produced due to the incompatible diet, definitely at that time it requires to combat by the by producing of the additions of drug which can do the purification, vamana, shamana, oshad. And after all, the compatible diet, which will not cause any type of adverse disease of the personified patient. Now there is some patient history which have been treated. I think you are well acquainted with the modern parameters and modern history. So I don't think that it is useful to read all these things. You see, one patient came to us with that things, and he has been treated with a corticosteroid and other and everything was there, and so clinical reports was that was noted that right limb when compared to the left was global muscle weakness. Global muscle weakness was there, and afterward it was an established case. So severe pain, and you see the dystrophy of the muscles, atrophy of the muscles was there, and lastly it was diagnosed as vascular necrosis, identical to that our Osteomachagatha which is in the book or Tarashumita. At that time, avascular necrosis was not mentioned, because with the advent of the times, different nomenclature, new nomenclature has been made, and that is correct. But at that time also, this type of characteristics was found, and as a result, this was diagnosed at Osteomachagatha, and we have given, you see, osteoporphyria, that is stabbing pain, pricking pain, severe and long-lasting pain, and stiffness was there, and ultimately the atrophy of the muscle and function, there is a strength was blessed, and see, treatment of the basis of the Osteomachagatha treatment was given. So that is the principle. Given was the Bajjapan Parashino. So we have given we have massaged the patient properly with and asked to take the histo. Now there is a misconception by the modern doctors. It is not their misconception, but we are unable to make it fruitful, or to make it understand to them that when the histo is taken with the with some medicated drugs, then if the histo is prepared with medicated drugs, that is fruitful from some diseases. So in that Mojigatha, which was not being cured by the modern medicine, then we have given the histo, medicated histo, and prepared by the Ayurvedic medicine. So in the presenter it was there non-steroidal medicine, osteoporosis, cholesterol lowering drugs, blood thinners, all these are required to be given. Exercises, electrical stimulation is required to be given. But in our text, and bone grafting, joint replacement, it has been prescribed. But our text has some other conception. Maybe if we can explore it, we can see that this conception which has been written, or the principles which are written in context of treatment of osteoporosis, may be identical to that of the modern medicine. It can be explored properly. So it requires further research, work, and interdisciplinary research is very, very important nowadays, so that this system can be propagated properly. Yes, of course, and other things also been taken. MRI follow-up every eye, joint movement assessment. So now one disease I want to emphasize. Yes, this is the one important adenocarcinoma of the antrum of the stomach. Now this is a patient. This patient, an established case of adenocarcinoma antrum of the stomach. He was an IS Joint Secretary of the West Bengal, and he came to me that he's been suffering from the disease, and the doctor has told that your lifespan is for 3 months, and he has consulted with so many doctors. Everybody has told the same thing. We just go to the radiation and chemotherapy, and the patient told, now I will not go because my daughter and my wife has already died even after taking that. I am not against that chemotherapy or radiotherapy, but the fact what I am saying is that, and then he came to me with the hope that he may be in a sustainable state by taking some Ayurvedic medicine, and considering the characteristics or the features of the patient or the disease, I diagnosed that disease as a nicholas and prescribed some drugs which has been written and asked to take the medicated Gosti, and the patient is still quite well. And so many patients are there. I'm not mentioning one patient. I can give you so many documents I can produce, but so many patients are there, and the treatment has been given. Case report is there also there. Yes, it is not that it is cured. It is in a sustainable state. That means every cancer will be cured by the Ayurvedic. It is not like that at all. It is not at all like that. But we can apply our principles, which is written in Charak Samhita, in toto, so that it may be fruitful for the disease carcinoma, which could not be able be arrested by the modern medicine. The epithelial cell carcinoma, so many cases are there. And the patient has come with so many complications, and that complication is to be tackled by the Ayurvedic medicine with the principles. And last of all, but not least, I want to say that Jayanti Hetu Vaishamat, Vishamat Deo Dhatubo, Hetu Shama Samastation, Shav Paramastata, Pavitri Hetu Putaram, non-Nirodanti Param. So all that drug, if the disease produced in your body, is very difficult to cure, very difficult to cure, very difficult to cure the patient in a justified way. But what we can do, there is no drug to cure the disease, but we can enhance the body immunity so that the disease phenomena can be arrested in due time. It has been written. It is one of the concepts of Charak Samhita that we have to administer such type of drug which can enhance the immunity of the body, and by which the disease process can be arrested. And that is termed Shabhava Parambad, or the principles of natural destruction doctrine of natural destruction. So this is very important. And lastly, I have told you Apakarshana Memadu, that I have already told. But afterwards, if any doctor, whether it is allopathic doctors, whether it is Ayurvedic doctors, whether it is modern doctor, Maitri Karanam, so we require the friendship, the pitiness, the feelings towards the patient properly, so that patient feel better, even if he or she came before you, then only he will be cured, otherwise not. If he will not feel better, come in a comfortable zone, he will not be cured by administration of any drug. So both the Nishangsha Karnam. So physician is the last component who can easily diagnose or who can easily cure, or who can easily make a protocol for the patient or of any type of disease. And therefore, the fundamental principle of treatment is still relevant, which is written in Chara Samhita, only requires exploration with some interdisciplinary research. And for that, Professor Queen research is there, is very much potent. And I think I am not a research person, I am not very good to orator, but only thing what I say that yes, Professor in Charak Jayanti, Charak's theory, Charak relevance is very much important. And Professor P.M. Mehta, who had established Gujarat Ayurveda University, he used to deliver his lecture on Charak Samhita. He was not a person of Ayurveda, but he was an MRCP, FRCS, MBBS, AMD, etc. And he established the Gujarat Ayurveda University. And you see the book, what is written under his supervision, the Charak Samhita in English, is very, very important to follow by the modern doctors. With this, thank you all, because your invitation, and I am grateful to the organizers to invite me in this August occasion. With this, thank you all.
I'll request Professor Bandyopadhyay to comment. Professor Bandyopadhyay, please.
Sir, I am trying to communicate with Professor Bandyopadhyay. In between, sir, you may proceed, sir.
Okay. This presentation was a very excellent presentation, but the main problem is that the Charak Samhita is so vast, that in 8 sections of the text, about 9,295 sutras are there. So in a short time, the discussion of the total principle is almost impossible. Even then, Professor Chattopadhyay has taken all his attempts to discuss different principles of treatment of Ayurveda, or not only for cure of the disease, but also for prevention. Because Charak seems to have been an early proponent of prevention is better than cure. So while starting his Samhita, the first chapter of Sutrasthan is labeled as Dirghan Jivitadhyaya. It means for Dirgha Jivan, for long life, the first chapter was dedicated. And similarly, on the applied aspect of Chikitsasthan, the first 2 chapters, Rashanpad and Bajikaranpad, are also for the prevention and for immunity. Professor Chattopadhyay has rightly mentioned that the importance of the prevention in some endemic diseases also. So I think in the future, the IPS may take necessary steps to discuss topic-wise on Charak Samhita, and that will be a better scope for us to understand. I'll quote one thing from Charak, that Charak has said, a physician who fails to enter the body of a patient with the lamp of knowledge and understanding can never treat diseases. He should first study all the factors, including environment, which influence a patient's disease, and then prescribe treatment. It is more important and for prevention or to prevent the occurrence of disease than to seek a cure. So I think the learned scholars have any questions, and if so, they can ask, please.
Well, Shambo,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, actually, for a short period, I was delinked as I have actually on the way back. I have come all the way from Bolpur. Anyhow, and I was listening for a long time. But Dr. Chattopadhyay's presentation, it was an excellent presentation throughout. And in fact, as I repeatedly tell that the medicine, the different system of medicine always should be combined. And because it should be like this, that one should be complementary to another. What I have seen in China, China has got a herbal system of medicine, and most interestingly, the students, they have not different type of students or different type of systems of colleges. All the students learn the same platform, from the same platform. They learn the modern medicine, they learn other pharmacology and other things. Simultaneously, they learn the indigenous system of medicine. And I don't think there is any harm in mixing, because what the basic idea should be that the good things about the Ayurveda, we can extract it out and we can utilize it for the betterment of the mankind. So for that reason and purpose, it is always highly necessary to hold such kinds of conferences, symposiums, and nothing better than this day, the Charak Jayanti, and simultaneously Amrita Mahotsav of 75 years. Simultaneously, we are the whole country is celebrating. So, with these few words, I thank Professor Chattopadhyay for his excellent deliberation. I thank IPS West Bengal branch to organize such a elaborate and nice program. And I hope that in future also we will have a combined discussion on this issue. With these few words, I conclude here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Rai. Your suggestion is an excellent suggestion, which we expected since a long time. But the funny thing is that the rule of this land is in such a way, if a herb is prescribed by an Ayurvedic physician, when some molecules are extracted from that, Ayurvedists are not allowed to write that. So the good thing what you have suggested is really an excellent idea. And we think since the time of our the present Ayurvedic physicians like Gannath Sen, they used to add on Ayurvedic medicine with modern medicine with the good result, with less toxicity. So we hope in the near future, the government should take the necessary steps to combine these two pathies for research and getting a new way out for the suffering humanity. In this day of celebration of Charak Jayanti, I wish all Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Shantu Niramaya to you all. Thank you all the organizers and the learned scholars present here from the core of my heart, and my sincere gratitude to you all. Thank you, Professor Chattopadhyay, for your nice presentation. Thank you, Shambo.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Avichal Chattopadhyay. Thank you, Professor P.C. Tripathi, Professor Bandyopadhyay, sir, Shushanto Bandyopadhyay, sir, for giving us time. May I request for, before going to next session, for a 1 or 2 minutes time, I am seeking from the next speakers, because we have with us today Professor Partho Ray from England. So he's a very renowned neurologist from UK. And one another introduction, we are really proud that he is also becoming our newest member, light member of Indian Pharmacological Society, West Bengal, Indian Pharmacological Society. So we are really thankful that we have this scholar with us as a member of our Indian Pharmacological Society. So today also we have our president, Dr. Siprakash sir, with us. It is really our privilege to introduce Professor Parthore to you also, sir. So welcome, Professor Parthore. If you have some comments
Yes.
on today's
Yes.
discussion, please have some brief comments.
First of all, আমি সবাইকে আমাদের 75তম স্বাধীনতা দিবসের সবাইকে সৌজন্য জানাচ্ছি। Let me speak in English because there may be some non-Bengali speakers here. First of all, let me congratulate Acharya Obichol Chattopadhyay for taking us through Charak Samhita, and I have the Charak Samhita book in front of me, which is a translation of P.V. Sharma's edition, and I have put in the chat box a comment that a lot of the Sanskrit translations should be available to students of medicine in English translation. And maybe you could consider that, because Shambo knows Sanskrit very well. I don't. I can read the Hindi. So it's important that the work of our Indian sages needs to be available to the current generation, including our students. That will be a great initiative from IPS, perhaps. The questions I have is, first of all, Sir Chattopadhyay, you mentioned about Mycobacterium tuberculosis and Mycobacterium leprae, about the disease phenotypes being identified by the Charak sage. Now, the point is, we only know that the bacteria was found out much later on after Robert Koch's postulates and all the rest of it. How did the differentiation of two different mycobacteria based upon the clinical presentation was available that time? Because you mentioned about the English, the Sanskrit of Jokho, which I think was tuberculosis, and of leprosy, which Kushcho. So how are they possible? How are they making the difference so long ago? So that's a question. And I have some comments. I was very much impressed by the approach towards holistic medicine, towards preventative medicine that was existent in 200 BC in Charak's time, about the features of counseling of patients, of explaining the disease to the patient, because we give that very little emphasis. We rely very much on pharmacotherapy, but not enough on counseling of patients and discussing the prognosis with the patients. That was very much efficiently managed through the Sanskrit enumerations that you have given. That I liked very much. And of course, the approach towards mental illness was very high level in Charak's times. So I think it was more modern then than we have now. The only additional thing is that we have analyzed psychology better. We have a few chemicals which work generically and rather non-specifically on some known chemical systems in the brain in psychiatry. But that is not the end of the story, as neuropsychiatry is finding out. We have some symptomatic cures, but not really a cure or a specific therapy for psychiatry illnesses. That's one. And the last point was that the chemical formulations ever since penicillin, well, that was actually a plant-derived product, that has taken a bit of a backseat to the alkaloids and plant-derived molecules, which we can now extract through high spectroscopy and other, extraction molecules, quantified and quantitated them, and then put them through trials. So that's a great scope for the future to focus on the Indian pharmacopoeia from Charak's time and Ayurveda, to bring them back. And that is happening in veterinary medicine. And I have a wide linkage with the Veterinary Association of India, where a lot of veterinary medicines are actually plant-derived, or they're working on them through various different techniques. And of course, in the human field, the cannabinoid CBD, cannabinoids, removing the THC molecule and just including the CBD, and using it for epilepsy, for pain, for spasticity. So these are emerging therapies, and these are not known to the Western world. and the pharmacological big pharma will not be interested in these because these are competitive to them. So there's a lot of scope for indigenous Indian research in these fields to develop molecules that we have from the plant sectors and from our herbal products that Ayurveda is built on. And that's a huge field for economic development as well as for patenting and for progressing once, because we have the technology to extract all of that. And the last thing is collaboration with the Chinese medicine, Korean medicine, Japan medicine, and the pharmacotherapy drugs. These have earned a bad press because of the bad publicity they have gained from not being titrated, having lots of chemicals that are toxic and lots of unnecessary negative press. But if these were properly clarified, standardized, and the right chemicals were in the substance that was being used, then there would be no discussion about toxicity. I think this is a false publicity and a negative press generated by vested interests to downgrade the Ayurvedic pharmacotherapy field, because I think it's cost effective. It's our own Indian, so we should cherish it. And if the science was there from 2000 years ago, why should we not publish it and bring it forward? The technology is there, the understanding is there. We've got the brain scans to do cross fertilization and cross benchmarking with chemical medicines coming from the West. And then I think it's a win-win for our people. At the end of the day, all that we're doing here is to make people better, disease more controllable. The only issue I had was in regards to the cancer slides you showed up, sir. Just as a comment, cancer many times is not treatable because it depends widely upon pharmacogenetics and cancer genetics. I don't think the knowledge base is there to that depth to treat cancers effectively, even with the modern chemotherapy that we have, because everyone's genetic profile is different. Like brain tumors, which I deal with, has got, as well with other colonic cancers and 7 or 8 cancers you showed. All of them have got a different personalized cancer therapy that isn't happening at the moment in our Harrison's 21st edition textbooks. So those were a few of my comments. I'm very grateful that Shambo has accepted me as part of the IPS. I'd like to be learning with all of you. The only question I have for you, Acharya Obichal Chattopadhyay, is about the differentiation of Mycobacterium tuberculosis and Kushto and Jokho in such early times as Charak. How did they manage to make that distinction? It is really a very
Thank you, sir.
Impressive. I can't understand how clever. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Actually, that time, Charak Samhita, it is written, Rajapuritam Avalam Jakha Shoshinamavi. And the disease is Rajjaksh. So anything, whether it is I am not told that it is the same Mycobacterium tuberculosis. But the term was Jakshma and was being nomenclated as Rajjakshma. When it has entered into the body of Shoshi, it has produced the disease Rajjakshma. And at that time also, right from the very primitive age, it was nomenclatured as Rajjakshma. Now the time has come, whether that Jakshma, that means some organism was there, whether that Jakshma and the signs and symptoms which are manifested in tuberculosis identical to that of the signs and symptoms which has been mentioned in Charak Samhita in context to Rajjakshma, whether that Jakshma is Mycobacterium tuberculosis, that is required to be explored properly. But what I have told, at that time also microorganism was there and the term Jakshma was there, and that was entered into the body of Shoshi, who was being occluded by Rajo, or psychoendurance was less, physical strength was less, and at that time Jakshma entered into the body and produced Rajjakshma. So am I clear?
Yes, thank you, sir. It is so very interesting that only when the cholera epidemic broke out in London, and from that tube well that was bringing out the water, that is when the biological basis of prevention of diseases came. Whereas we knew about the germ theory of disease from such a long time ago.
So at that time, Otishan also there.
Exactly.
At that time, Raktatishan also is there. Blood dysentery also there. So whether the bacillary whether the specific organism was responsible for that, which is required to explore. Now the time has come to have the extensive research in Ayurveda. Only what is now going on, only we are giving the Ayurvedic drugs and seeing whether it is effective or not. But when the patient is very in an emergency condition, still we have not explored the parental route. The time has come how the parental route will be used, how the drug can be used in parental route, so that immediately the drug can be effective. So the time has come. It is not that if we say, okay, it is scientific, then it will have no value unless it is proved and established properly. But the thing has written in a very document, and it is also experimented at that time in their own way. That time the research was there in his own way, considering the subjective parameters. So we have to, now it is our time. It is the time of our future generation. How it can be established in the modern platform.
Thank you, sir. So as we are running short of time, sir, we have to move forward for the next session.
Okay.
And we are really thankful to Professor Abhichal Chattopadhyay, sir. Thank you very much for giving us time and a beautiful lecture. And also we are thankful to Professor Parthore for raising these questions. Now we have time to move on for the next session on Ayurveda, the translational approach towards validation as sustainable healthcare practices. And for this session, we are really fortunate to have two esteemed chairpersons with us, Professor Anjan Adhikari, who is MSVP and Professor of Department of Pharmacology at Medical College, Kolkata. Welcome you, sir. And also we have Professor Lopamudra Dhar Choudhury, who is the Professor of Pharmacology, Department of Pharmacology at RG Kar Medical College and Hospital. Welcome you, madam. Madam is also currently Vice President of Indian Pharmacological Society West Bengal Chapter. So welcome Professor Anjan Adhikari and Professor Lopamudra Dhar Choudhury to start the session.
Okay. May I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, my respected teachers, respected dignitaries of Indian Pharmacological Society, West Bengal branch, other participants, audience, speakers, and resource persons. It's unique to participate in this session of Maharshi Charak Jayanti and to discuss on the issues related with Ayurveda. I started working with Ayurveda for a long time, and one of my gurus, that is Professor T K Mondal, he introduced me with the concept of Ayurveda, the holistic nature of Ayurveda, the differences between modern medicine and Ayurveda. So many things are there. For a long time, we are not getting the blessings of Professor Devnath. Anyhow, excellent discussion is going on in different issues of Ayurveda, from Dr. Shambo's presentation on Surya Namaskar to the principles of Charak Samhita. We are now entering into a newer part of discussion about the topic of the discussion is Ayurveda translational approaches towards validation as a sustainable healthcare practices. Just I want to continue the few words of Professor Abhichal Chattopadhyay. He raised an issue about a truth, searching truth. What is truth, and how to establish truth? And this presentation, this title indicates that all the issues related with exploration of truth, especially related with Ayurveda, translating the Ayurveda, the knowledge of Ayurveda, the understanding of Ayurveda, the methods of Ayurveda into the common practice, the sustainable healthcare system. And validation is a very important. We all are a scientific person. We deal with data, and whenever you are dealing with data, the issues related with validity, reliability is a very important. The credibility of data. Now we are dealing with data science, and ultimately these data will establish what exactly whether your therapy is the real therapy and it is really predictable, It is reproducible, it is valid, it can be given. Is it cost effective? Is it really have some special effect? Now, with this, I think another chairperson of this presentation, Professor Lopamudra Dhar Chaudhary, to give some idea about this holistic concept involving the scientific arena, and to introduce the speaker, Dr. Sonali Mukherjee, to speak on the topic. Madam, please. Lopadi.
Madam, you're muted.
Hope you can hear me. Sorry. Okay, so
Great.
today is a very nice occasion and a coincidence regarding this today's India's Independence Day, as well as this we are celebrating Charaka Jayanti, who is one of the pioneers of Ayurveda. And today because we are too late, we want to introduce Sonali Mukherjee, who is in health officer, and she's going to deliver her speech regarding this translational research, which seeks to produce or translate the basic science discoveries and more quickly and efficiently, so that it comes in directly for the benefit of the humanity, and rather from bench to the bedside. And let's see how it is validated and how Ayurvedic medicine comes to the public use. So Sonali, you can start here.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that I'm allowed to participate in such a vast ocean of dignitaries. Well, to start with, am I able to share my slide? Is it visible to everyone, my slide?
No, you have to share your screen first.
Okay, share screen share. Well, the screen is showing the one that is I'm seeing over here.
There's down, you just go, and there you see one share screen arrow is there. In a green, there's one arrow, okay. Share screen. Go and click in that option.
Yes, I've clicked over there, but I'm seeing my picture over here. So shall I continue, because there are so many pictures that I have to present. That's why I'm a bit.
You first stop your or minimize your presentation, PowerPoint presentation.
Okay. Okay.
And then you will open that Zoom. Where
share screen.
Yeah, there is a share screen option. So you click on that.
Okay. There are three options: enter screen, Windows, and Chrome tab. And below there is share and cancel. So in the share, it's not showing something.
No, you have to click on that first option, that share your screen.
Enter screen.
Yeah.
Can you help me out? I'm sorry for the time taking, but
yeah, now it's coming. You have to make it now full screen.
Okay.
There is an option.
Is it showing now? Is it showing now?
It is showing, but you have to make it full screen.
Slideshow, then you have to
go to slideshow.
Yes, slideshow.
Above. After the animation, there's one point, slideshow. You click on that, and from the go to
from your computer, is it full screen?
Yeah, it is full screen in my computer.
So I think
something is it showing over there? Something my.
Okay, so what? There is one problem. I think you first of all you stop your screen share now.
Stop sharing. Okay.
Now minimize the zoom.
Minimize the zoom, yes.
Open your slides.
Open the slides.
Make it full screen.
Make it.
Is it full screen?
Yes, it is full screen now.
Okay, now you open the zoom again. The zoom is in a short form. So you make it full screen, zoom. Can you able to see the zoom?
Yes, I'm able to see the.
Yeah, so you
zoom.
open, you make it full screen. Zoom full screen. Okay.
Okay.
Zoom is full screen.
Zoom full screen, yes.
Yeah, so now you start screen sharing. Share screen.
Still, it isn't showing to me. Well, I'll start without the because
So there is a share screen option in your button.
Yes, I'm already clicking it, but I'm seeing my picture itself, just the picture of everyone. I'm unable to see my.
Can you take someone's help if there's someone?
Yeah, I'm already taking the
Can
help.
you share? Can you share that PPT to me? If you have my WhatsApp number, you can send that, or
I have your WhatsApp number, but my PPT is prepared in the laptop.
So you can mail me also.
Okay, that can be done. Your mail address is.
Mail address is shmbo. Yes, now it's full screen. It is fine.
Now, is it showing to you all?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, God. Okay. So I'll start with it. In the beginning, it has been such an embarrassing moment. So the topic is transitional approaches towards validation of sustainable healthcare practice. So how we are translating it to a sustainable healthcare practice, the few bit of description that I'm going to give it over here. This is a bit of my, I'm a senior Ayurvedic medical officer, the Department of Health and Family Welfare, Government of West Bengal. So an introduction to sustainability in healthcare is the next big thing. So sustainability word is so much prevalent in today's date that from a cloth that has to be sustainable, the sustainable cloth, a packet that is already being not allowed in India, we have to carry cloth bags. From drinking water, we have to drink spring water, which is around 4 lakh in price, to medicines, which have to be herbal originating. The pesticides has to be organic in nature. So everything is shifting to a sustainable lifestyle. So what does World Health Organization has to say about it? The World Health Organization, WHO, defines a sustainable healthcare system as a system that improves, maintains, or restores health while minimizing negative impacts on the environment and leveraging opportunities to restore and improve it to the benefit of health and well-being of current and future generations. So it helps, its human body is separated, but to the environment. Even our human bodies also belong to the environment. I'll discuss in the next slides. How is it? So Charak Samhita Sutrasthan first chapter itself, the slok says the same thing. Hitahitam sukham dukham ayustasya hitahitam mananja yat taccha yatroktam ayurveda saujjate. What does this slok mean? Ayurveda is for every situation in life. Well, we think medicines are for unhealthy, unhappy people. But no, Ayurveda says it is for happy people. It's for healthy life. So this is how Ayurveda selects my lifestyle of how from early in the morning, how should I get up to how do I sleep, and all the procedures that I follow whole day to have a complete healthy and happy life. So these are the theoretical backgrounds. The practical backgrounds that we are facing right at this moment is the healthcare services in India. It's the rising cost in hospitals, not only in allopathic hospitals, in all sectors. Trust in healthcare system that if I go, whether I'll be cured or not. Rising cost of drugs and medicines. So these are the biggest concerns of healthcare services in India nowadays. And amongst that, lifestyle disorder is another big situation which is badly creating a mess in our life, which are type 2 diabetes, hypertension, osteoarthritis, obstructive sleep apnea, hyperlipidemia. Everything is linked. If I have type 2 diabetes, I'll be coming up to hypertension. If I'm having hypertension, I'll be coming up to hyperlipidemia. I have very less time in my hand. I'm having fast foods. I'm increasing my obesity, and I'm linking all the diseases together in my life. So the health report says the same thing. Estimated annual deaths in India due to non-communicable disease are cardiovascular disease, which 20%, 26%, diabetes 2%, respiratory disease 13%, and cancer 7%. So now, these are the basic problems nowadays going on. But when we come down to the basic treatment principle of Ayurveda, we concentrate the basic level as 5 elementary things, which is earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So how does this affect all these obesities and everything? So earth, which is mati, we can say, is the hardest part of our body, which is bone. The most dense part of our body is formulated with earth. This is the basic principle of Ayurveda that I'm explaining. Air is the respiratory air that we intake and exhale, and the air movement inside our abdomen. This also comes under air. Ether is the empty space inside our body. Fire is the digestive system. Water is the hydration part in our body. So when all these 5 either increases or decreases, there are few diseases in our body. So this is a very elemental part, very rudimentary part. But when we structurize the treatment protocol in Ayurveda, we focus on these 5 things. So once we understand how these 5 things increase and decrease in my body, I can control what to eat, what not to eat, what to do, what not to do. So that at the end of the day, I'll not end up something unconsciously, and I'll lead up to diseases that are non-communicable and long untreatable and long-term. Now, there are Tanmatra therapies, which is a very unheard word for everyone, but that 5 elements I said, there are some energies related to that. Now, air movement need to have some energy. Water needs to have some energy. The essence, now, this is kind of philosophical, but this is science backed up. Why I'll say in the later slide. Tanmatra means essence or potential. These are the root energies of 5 elements. They are more subtle form of energy, and it is only because of the Tanmatras that everything comes into creation. There are 5 senses attached to it. All these 5 elements: sound, touch, form, taste, and odor. Now, quantum theory. This is a bit of physics inside this because it is related. Quantum theory is the smallest part, the quark, even not the electron, not the proton, not the neutrons, but the quark, which says that it is a theoretical basis of modern physics that explains nature and behavior of matter and energy on the atomic and subatomic level. That is what Tanmatra is saying. That is what Panchamahabhuta is saying. In this atomic and subatomic level, the nature and behavior of matter. Even physics is a broad term. Ayurveda is a broad term. But even when I have continued studying, I was really overwhelmed that how come all the subjects, the basis of all subjects are coming together. Now, that I said, Panchamahabhuta has their few qualities. So these are the treatment protocols that has been extracted from that. The form is due to color therapy. All the 5-6 colors that we are seeing, that is the Agni. Agni is the special quality of Agni is vision. So we can do the color therapy through that. These are not related to Ayurveda, but these are the extraction taken from Panchamahabhutas. Taste. We are treating all the patients with all the 6 tastes. We actually in Ayurveda, we don't much trust on carbohydrates, fats, lipids, and how much calories you're intaking, how much calories you're not taking. We say patient to take all the 6 tastes together, and these 6 tastes cover all your essential micronutrients and your macronutrients. Gandha is aromatherapy. We, in extreme headache, we have always seen that smells of lavender, smell of chamomile has calmed down our brain. Sound therapy, speech therapy has been a long-term treatment. We have all known, but it's all basic principle goes to Ayurveda. Sparsha, touch therapy. Marpa therapy is also prevalent in China. The acupressure, the pressure points. If you give a pressure on this, the patient improves their pain. Such a wonderful point to recognize the point. This point is related to headache. This point was related to knee pain. So when I pressurize this point, the patient is immediately improving. This is what all is related to the basic principles of Ayurveda taught by Charak. Now, Ayurvedic Dinacharya that I said that Charak Samhita has, in the first chapter itself, has said, how do you live your lifestyle? You don't need to take medicines, you don't need to take anything, you just follow what I am saying. These are all backed with science. So, Ayurvedic Dinacharya, there's a daily routine said to us. Early in the morning, we need to get up in Brahma Muhurta. Our mothers, our grandmothers, our foreparents didn't know that there is Brahma Muhurta, we have to wake up. But they waked up in 4:30 a.m. in the morning. They did all their works. And I remember that they didn't suffer much of diseases the way today we suffer. So there was something beneficial, something different that they did, knowingly or unknowingly, that backed up their health. So one of them is Brahma Muhurta Jagarana. It's not that just in the midnight I have to get up, I have to sit, and because I have got up in Brahma Muhurta, so I'm going to be healthy. No, it's just 15 minutes, half an hour before the sunrise. I get up, I take the ozone, I take the fresh air, and my body system, my immunity, my oxidation will increase inside my body. My lymphatic channels will be open. If I take a deep breath at that time, of course, my nervous system will awaken. They say it's Kundalini. The Kundalini is the strongest nervous system. So when my nervous system is awakened, my body is always fit. Dantadhavan. Now these kind of neem daton that we can say is available in Amazon in probably 100 or 200 rupees. But these were the ancient toothbrushing system that we generally avoid in today's date, because we think that this might be dirty, this might disturb my gums. But the pungent taste that is to come out from this would use to kill all the gingivitis, all the toothaches, all the problems. And generally, I remember my grandfather, my father used to use their teeth in the toughest biting, and it was so easy for them. Tongue scraping is so essential. We tell to every patient, but even the material to be used for tongue scraping is said for iron. Silver gold was very back time, but iron, because early in the morning we are having certain micronutrients of iron inside our body, which is we all know is essential. Karnapuran, oiling nowadays is to be prevented because there are lots of bacteria can enter. There are lots of it becomes oily inside the ear. But see the benefits. It's not said by me, it's said by Charak Samhita. Improves hearing, relieves ear pain. The medicines are, the oil is of course medicated. The preparation of oil is also said. How will you prepare the oil? It's not just simply buying the oil from the market and putting inside my ear. Prevents ear diseases, prevents neck and jaw stiffness. Jaw stiffness. There are so many patients that comes with jaw stiffness. Provides strength to ear bones and surrounding structures. Nastya is such an important treatment. I have seen so many patients with tension, with anxiety, with depression, with hair fall, with neck pain, with insomnia. I've seen Nastya patients being cured with Nastya. This oil is also prepared with strongest herbs, and it has a time of early morning to be given this medicine. There are a lot of techniques to give this medicine. Kaval and Gandush. Gandush, this is a very common word that we have heard. This is filling of my mouth with oil and either gargling or just keeping it with like that. This too has innumerable health benefits, all said by Charak Samhita, and this is true. All the top most research workers have seen in ResearchGate, they are doing extensive research works with all these procedures. This is Mardan. It is this we use body pack and so many things nowadays, but this is around 3,000 years technique that is followed. Body polishing, we say body polishing, but there are so many health benefits. All the skin diseases like psoriasis, like eczema are being cured with this treatment. This is oil massage. We all know the benefits of oil massage, but this is scientifically validated by Charak Samhita that if you pressure point the oil massage, with a specific medicated oil, even diseases like paralysis can be improved. And these kind of diseases with body massage is being done in JB Roy State Ayurvedic Medical College. And the patients come with sleeping, coming lying, and they get up, walk, and go away. So this is the extraordinary treatment that we have seen in our eyes. We have believed, because it's all in books. We have to see to believe, and we have seen and we have actually believed the treatment of medicines. Bathing is a very usual. We do it every day, but there are techniques for this also. Charak Samhita has also said about these things. So this is so unique that to be healthy, a medical system is guiding, a book is guiding that how you need to be healthy. Now, approaches of translation through food habits. Food habits, we say so many things about food habits. I'm doing intermittent dieting. I follow one-time food. I eat repeated times. A patient is advised to eat less food in innumerable times. Well, I don't eat oil. I don't eat ghee. I am a vegan. There are so many options in today's date. But food habit in Ayurveda is always specific. And even today, when we follow the systems, we have seen that we have the utmost digestive capacity. How much should we eat at each meal? This is a very common question. Madam, how much should we eat? Should we eat many times? Should we eat one time? Should we eat 2 times? So what does Ayurveda say? Such a unique explanation. They say, Charak Samhita itself, in first chapter, in probably first thana, they say that you eat when you are hungry. Very simple. When I say to my patient that যখন খিদে পাবে তখন খাবেন, but I know in the back of my mind there is Panchamahapata related to it. There is Agni related to it. When your digestive capacity is increasing, your cells are needing the food, and then you are feeding them. When a baby needs food, you feed them and the baby is happy. So is our cells. When the cells need food, we give the food, the cells are happy. At what time should we eat? We all know that breakfast is the fullest meal, then again a small snack, and at the night is the lightest meal. Ayurveda says, at around 12 o'clock, you are in the highest of your Agni, in your highest of your digestive system, digestive fire. When you are at 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, you feel so much hungry. If you try to stop that, then your digestive clock is going to get disturbed. At night, you are not so hungry because at that time, the full body metabolism gets weakened. We don't need to eat too much. Yes, a person who is working the whole day, is unable to eat, that is a different issue. But in general, a person has to eat in the afternoon. Afternoon gives us the highest Agnival time. Now, a little of biopurification. Not all toxins get cleared by medicines. Not all toxins get cleared by taking vitamins. We need to follow few biopurificatory methods. Just 5 methods. It's called Panchakarma therapy. Very famous. Vamana, Virechana, Vasti, Nasya, Rakta Moksha. Vamana is the therapeutic vomiting or medicated emesis therapy. So many protocols are being followed for one patient to make them ready for Vamana therapy. Virechana, it's not just passing the tool with the medicine. There are so many treatments, so many procedures back before and after with the Vireshana therapy. Vasti is the emesis. So many protocols are being followed while giving a Basti therapy. Nesta that I already explained. Rakta Mokshan is leech therapy, very famous in today's date. So many patients are getting improved through leech therapy. It has become a complete differentiated medical part, which is Rakta Mokshan, that is being presented as leech therapy. These 5 therapies are essential, already said in Charak Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, Ashtanga Hridaya, all the famous books of Ayurveda, they all have said these biopurificatory measures. Now, a bit of how herbal drug works, we all somehow know that it's not just a single metabolite, but it is a mixture of all the secondary metabolites. It's secondary metabolite, we just extract one, but there are many. So they work with a synergy. Many plants have several herbal actions that work with a synergy. So when I take an extracted chemical, I can have some after effects. But when I take a total holistic herbal drug, then I will see minimum side effects inside my body. But because we are already taking herbs, we are already taking shag, we are already taking thankuni pata, they are all medicines. When we are taking it in capsule form, tablet form, it becomes a medicine. When I extract a metabolite, it becomes a tablet, it becomes a capsule. So we always say to take it in a synergy, in a holistic way. Now, these are the ongoing research works taking place in Cheviroy State Ayurvedic Medical College and Hospital. Scientists and researchers are working vigorously on Ayurvedic treatment. Double-blinded randomized clinical trial of polyherbal formulation on post-COVID immunity is being already running. Double-blind randomized clinical trial, anti-stress activity of Ayurvedic medicinal plants is already running, and patients are actually improving on these treatments. These are few ground level work as senior Ayurvedic medical officer we are doing. In my block, it's Chagta block and Kollani block under Nodia district. We have been training around 400 ASHA workers for going house to house visit, for going to every house and explaining them, hey, গুলঞ্চ গাছ লাগিয়েছিস তো, তুই কি জানিস এর বেনিফিটটা কি? নিম গাছ লাগিয়েছিস তো, আরে নিম গাছ তো আছে, এটার কাজ জানিস কি হয়? না দিদি আমরা তো জানি না। ওই প্রাইমারি হেলথ সেন্টারে একজন ডাক্তার বসছে, ওখানে যা তো, ওখানে গিয়ে একটু জেনে আয় তো, দেখ তো তোর কি অসুবিধা হচ্ছে। They are guiding us so beautifully. They are visiting every house. They are wearing masks from early morning to evening. They are working vigorously for development of medicines, development of Ayush in every household. These are the ASHA workers for one-day training. There are 4 trainings just in Chagta and Kollani block. There are probably 5,000 ASHA workers working for Ayush, and to each home-to-home visit. They are doing home-to-home visit. They are filling forms where they are ticking and they are submitting us the forms, and we are submitting it to the district level. District is giving to Swasthya Bhavan, and Swasthya Bhavan is heading to Delhi. So this is how the complete chain of treatment towards evolving the mankind to Ayush is working day and night. Now, we can't discard yoga. Yoga is an essential part of whether Ayurveda, whether Ayush, whether allopathic treatments. In everything, yoga is a part. We all know Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharan, Dhyan, Samadhi. Few of us, we already knowingly or unknowingly practice them. We are practicing Yam. We are controlling. ঠিক আছে, রামদেব বাবা একটুখানি অনুলোম বিলোম শিখিয়েছে, আজকে একটু প্র্যাকটিস করি। We are practicing pranayam. আজকে একটুখানি বজ্রাসনে বসি তো খাওয়ার পরে, we are practicing asana. It just needs a consciousness. If we are conscious about practicing all these things, we will know that we are actually practicing all these things. Samadhi is a bit of higher level thing that we can't practice in Kali Yuga probably, but all these things we are already practicing, and we need to practically practice all these things. That is Surya Namaskar, that is vigorously explained in the first presentation by Dr. Shambo, and next is a few of yoga that I practice. If not every day, I try to maintain a regularity with yoga. And this is one. Another is Matsasana variation. It is Uttanasana. And the last but not least, Nacha eva hasti sutaram Ayurveda Shaparam. Ayurveda has no ending. Charak Samhita Vimal has said, treatment has no ending. How will it be? Treatment is not a treatment. From a cell evolving, we know that we have to take a plant, eat, and we have to feed ourselves. So this is not a treatment. This is a lifestyle. This is a way of our life. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all and everyone to patience hearing.
It was an excellent presentation, and we came to know much new. I mean, we are just not aware of this Ayurveda, and we came to know every lifestyle, each and every day we have to follow for a good and healthy life. Very, very well done. So our co-chairperson, Anjun, Dr. Anjun, I think, Professor Anjan Adhikari, you can.
Didi, Sonali, Dr. Sonali presented nicely. Ayurveda actually is a so vast subject. It is very difficult to embrace the concepts of Ayurveda. It's a translational approaches within these few minutes. But excellent presentation. I think all our learned participant will be enriched with this presentation and concept sharing. If anyone have any question or any comments to include in this session, please. I think Didi, probably we don't have any other comments or any question for this session.
Partha sir. Professor Partha.
Namaskar. I like your talk very much, Dr. Sonali Mukherjee. There was a initial slide where you talked about 42% distrust in the healthcare system in very opening slides. What was the source of that data, and why do you think it's happening? Trust issues in healthcare, 42%. Can you elaborate on that? And then I'll talk about the rest.
Well, of course, sir. In the hospital where I am working, I have seen in front that there are people who are very much old, standing in line probably after 1,000 people. And when they are coming, the doctors are getting exhausted. The medicines they are writing and the medicines they are giving are probably, one is for a gas, one is for painkiller like paracetamol, and they are coming from probably 14 kilometers, 15 kilometers, 100 kilometers. And they are just taking a paracetamol for ibuprofen for painkiller, and they're taking the medicines, going home. They are taking the medicines and they are feeling good for probably 7 days. After their pain is increasing, they are again coming back and they are saying that the medicine is not working for me. But we understand the doctors, after seeing 1,000 patients together, 100 patients together, probably 200 patients together, and the less availability of medicines, and the poor patients can't buy medicines. And this is what I'm saying in my district. Probably there are so many districts in West Bengal, the same thing is happening, and the patients are slowly reducing. They are losing their self belief that no, then I want to see the doctor in a private chamber, then probably they can give me a better medicine. And after giving a line of so much and I'm getting these medicines, these are the poor and illiterate people who are coming and showing their concern. And there are so many people who can't walk due to osteoarthritis. They are crying that after so long work I have come and I am taking these medicines back home. So this is the scenario that I have seen in my eyes over here.
Thank you for explaining that. That's a real problem. 42% having a problem with trust. The last question I'll ask you is about the tongue scraper and the metals you have mentioned, gold and silver in the past, copper and iron. How does it work, and what's the scientific basis of tongue scraper?
Well, even in today's date, the costlier medicines are preparation of gold. We are having medicines which are being said, even being prepared with micro particles of gold. And when the patients are coming just before knee replacement to us, and they're saying that we are having extreme pain that we can't stand, we are giving this medicines and the patients are getting cured. Gold has been said and been proved as being an extremely pain relieving medicine. And when there was a lot of availability of gold, maybe even my forefathers haven't seen them having extreme availability of gold. But there was time when cup dish, when plates were made up of gold. At that time, when Charak Samhita was writing his books, gold and silver was highly available. Then coming to iron. When I explain it's iron scrapper. The iron, gold and silver was gone, and when iron came into being, Charak Samhita has been explaining that these iron microparticles are going inside our body, and the hemoglobin percentage which are being reduced for women, for men, for children. Some particles are going inside our body, and we are at least increasing a few percentage of increase in hemoglobin. So this research work has already been done in this, and this is proof that if we regularly use iron tongue scraper, there are health benefits to it.
I have just two questions.
Yes,
one is, how do you treat osteoarthritis in your?
Well, yes, osteoarthritis, we have some specific herbs. So these herbs are, we don't generally extract things. The whole medicine is taken, and we are transforming it into capsule or tablet form, and we are giving these herbs to the patients. Like, I can give an example of a harjor. The medicine in the Himalaya company is available as harjor, which is Asti Shrinkhala, Ficus quadrangularis. This medicine is being proved to when there is a fracture, the bones are getting together with taking of this medicine. So generally we make a plaster, and we give calcium supplements. But when we are seeing that we are giving patients harjor, the pain is wonderfully reduced, and the joining of bones is improving very fast. So for an example, there are so many herbs like this, which when we are giving to the patients, the patient is coming to us and they are having long-term improvement. If the patient is not more than 5 years, the osteoarthritis is not more than 5 years, the patient is actually very much cured, and they are not returning to us. When they're taking the medicine, when they're taking the oil, the specific medicated oil, this is supplied by government itself. We are giving the government supply medicine. We are not allowing them to buy medicines from outside. They are taking it. After 7 days, they are again coming back to us. Then again, we are repeating the medicines. Probably after 1 month, we are not seeing the patients. And probably after 2 to 3 months, when they are coming with some another disease, they are saying, we are improved with the pain.
Now, are you doing follow-up of these patients?
Yes, of course, I'm doing the follow-up. Because where I'm practicing is a very small gram, I can say. So the faces are all known. When they come to me, they're cooking and they're coming to take the medicines. They're doing some garden work, they're coming to take the medicines. They're making the homes and they're coming to take the medicines. So I already know their faces. So after 2 to 3 months, when they're coming back to me, I ask them, how's your pain? Then the patient say, "Na madam, pain to ekhon nei. Amar ekhon peter সমস্যা. Amar ekhon matha dhorche." They come with some different problems. So then I analyze that my medicine is working over there.
So they're clinically improving. And what about this Brahma Muhurta? Why do you say this 4 a.m. is a Brahma Muhurta? What's the...
well, it is not exactly 4 a.m., but they say it's 48 minutes between the rising of sun. Before the rising of sun, 48 minutes. Within 48 minutes, anytime you can get up. Before sunrise, if you get up, even 5 minutes before, this has to be seen an improvement in our body, metabolism and hunger and all the basic elements that we have seen. Overall improvement in our body. A patient who is getting up at probably 8:30 to 9 a.m. in the morning, and the patient who is getting up in 4 a.m. in the morning, there are difference of health benefits that we have clinically seen in patients. So there are even research works.
Scientifically proved.
There are several research works backed about Brahma Muhurta, because even this question has been asked by several people. That how do you just simply say, even if it is written in Charak Samhita, even Charak Samhita can't prove something like that. So there are a lot of research workers working on this, and they are clinically trying to prove, and not even trying to prove, there are already papers, review papers, research articles, and clinical papers backed with proofs that Brahma Muhurta is essential.
Thank you.
Can I just add to that, madam? I think that is to do with the circadian rhythm. And
yes,
the circadian rhythm and the effect of sunlight on the neuroendocrine system and on the immunological system. Charak Samhita will have known that because observational science, and we lead a 24-hour cycle now with artificial lighting. they had only sunlight to go by. So the working day was with the sunrise and nighttime was with sunset. So that was more of a biologically proper rhythm that our body is normally adjusted to, including sleep, which is the most important nourishment for the body, and the lymphatic system that we talked about. It helps nourish brain and
the sun rays at that time.
Sun rays, the body is basically, the circadian rhythm is basically time with the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun. We have learned to work at 2 a.m. in the morning on our tablets with artificial lighting, and that has disturbed the entire neuroendocrine system and the biological clock, and that is leading to stress, depression, anxiety, neurohormonal obesity, wrong foods, wrong time, appetite, ghrelin, everything is disordered now. So by the fact that we have tweaked everything around has led to a total disruption of the own body's internal homeostasis milieu, and hence all these physiological problems of eating at wrong times, comfort eating, as you showed. So that's I think the Brahmo Muhurto is 4 a.m. when classically the sun rays are first seen. If it's 49 minutes before sunrise, I don't know. But I think that's very important, because I think the sleep medicine is increasing quite a lot. And there's a lot of research there that's happening with the neurometabolic and immunological systems. It's all driven from that source. So interesting. Another talk. I'm sure Shambo will ask me to wind up soon. Okay, thank you very much. Lovely talk. I really like.
Yeah, thank you, Sonali, for clarification. Ayurveda is such a subject that we can talk and discuss for whole night, but we have another session. I think Dr. Shambo will again hand over and start the next session. Shambo, please.
Thank you, respected chairpersons, for giving us your valuable time, and we are really thankful to Dr. Sonali Mukherjee for this wonderful deliberation. So we have to move forward towards the next session, and that is on the safety and efficacy of Ayurveda therapy in the plaque psoriasis. And for this particular session, we are really fortunate to have two esteemed chairpersons, Professor Shantanu Munshi, who is the professor and head Department of Clinical and Experimental Pharmacology, School of Tropical Medicine, Kolkata. And also we are really privileged to have Professor Swanand Pathak, who is the professor and head of Department of Pharmacology from JNMC, Wardha, Maharashtra. So welcome, sir. So for this particular session, we have our honorable speaker, Dr. Achinto Mitro, who is the officer in charge at Regional Ayurveda Research Institute, Ranikhet, Uttarakhand, under the Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. Welcome you, sir, also. May I now request Professor Swanand Pathak to introduce this topic and to start the session. Over to Professor Swanand Pathak.
Thank you, Dr. Shambu. I hope you are getting my voice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So namaste, everybody, and good afternoon. At the outset, let me thank Dr. Shambu Samajdar sir for inviting me to such an august gathering. To my respected friends, Dr. Lopamudra madam, Dr. Anjan sir, for recommending my name for this particular august gathering. Regarding today's speciality, the day is very special. It's Charak Jayanti of Maharshi Charak, as well as our 75th Independence Day. And it's a very special day altogether. And I cannot contain myself from reciting a verse from Mahabharata. It's a verse from Mahabharata Drona Parva and by Ratidev. What he says, Natvam Kamaye Rajyam, na Swargam na Punarbhavam, Kamaye Dukkha Taptanam, Praninam Artinashanam. What is the goal? What is the goal of everything? Let it be Ayurveda, let it be modern medicine, beautifully depicted in these two lines. Let us not ask for rains. Let us not ask for money. Let us not ask for rebirth. Let us not ask for heaven, but let us ask for elevation of the sufferings. And what it says, elevation of the sufferings of all the living beings. And that is what is the aim of let it be the modern medicine or let it be an Ayurveda. Elevation of sufferings. As Bhagavad Gita rightly puts up, that the whole thing is anityam asukham. By default, we are in the sufferings. If by default we are in the sufferings, whether these are physical sufferings or the mental sufferings, these are some pathies, Ayurveda or medicine, that tries to alleviate these sufferings which all the living beings suffer from in this world. And one of the sufferings is that of the plaque psoriasis. And definitely a very apt title, the title for this particular presentation, Safety and Efficacy of Ayurveda Therapy in the Plaque Psoriasis. We know as a modern medicine person or people that psoriasis is not that very uncommon. About 2 to 3% of incidence is there of the psoriasis. Psoriasis is something which is an autoimmune disease. Autoimmune in the sense that is our own immunity is acting against us. And the enigma is that why such thing happens. It is not only for psoriasis. It is for all the other autoimmune disease, even for arthritis. We may treat, but what is the cause which is there? The modern medicine falls very short in explaining this particular cause. Probably the cause is explained in terms of genetics, probably in terms of pharmacogenetics, a very hard type of evidence that can be obtained by the genetic makeup of the person. But Ayurveda has a very beautiful concept of Prakriti. You don't have to take any cell from the body. You don't have to take any DNA from the body. You don't have to analyze that particular DNA, but analyze instead of phenotype, because genotype is something what is reflects in the phenotype, and that Prakriti concept. Probably that Prakriti concept might help us in overcoming the treatments of the enigmatic disease. I will say that is kind of psoriasis. What we know in modern medicine is Kuha therapy, that is the Soralin therapy, then UV rays we are using, then we use coal tar. But what is in our experience? The improvement in the patient is very slow, and then there are relapses. Is there anything Ayurveda offers? Definitely, it must be offering. But what the title says is very peculiar. Safety and efficacy of Ayurveda therapy and plaque psoriasis. Yes, therapies are there, but we want to comment on the safety and efficacy. And this is what the thing, this is what the openness, that has to come in the traditional therapies. And I'm very happy that this particular topic is being taken on the safety and efficacy. Obviously, what we need in this particular direction are some of the real good pragmatic trials which are being required in this direction, maybe combining this Prakriti concept to whatever is there in the Ayurveda. And another thing, as we are moving towards, I'm very new to this particular concept of Ayurveda, but I always wondered one thing, that we always speak of helicotherapy, we always speak of the Surya Namaskar, we always speak of the energy which we are getting from the sun. But there is one verse in Bhagavad Gita, that is in chapter number 15 and the shloka number 13. It says, Gama Vishyacha Bhutani Dharya Bhamojasa Pushpani Aushadim Sarva Somo Bhutva Rasatmaka. Where it speaks, where it speaks about the not sunlight, but moonlight. It says that moonlight is very essential. I am in the moonlight, that is what the God says. And with this moonlight, that I make the aushadhis, that is those plants grow. Maybe there is medicinal property in moonlight too. Are we like exploring that particular aspect of the moonlight as the therapy, probably in for the treatment of psoriasis? I may or may not be correct. Our esteemed guest, esteemed speaker today, Dr. Achinta Mitra, who is officer in charge, Regional Ayurvedic Research Center, And I have a personal experience of working with the people of the Regional Ayurvedic Research Center here at Nagpur. They have very excellent type of a scientific aptitude towards as far as it comes to the research. As I head their ethics committee for the trials as a chairman, I have come across such a wonderful experiments that they perform with the Ayurveda, and I'm quite sure that Dr. Achintya Mitra, he will be delivering the talk on the same aspect of the efficacy and safety and efficacy, and the whole thing will be a milestone in the treatment of achieving the good treatment in the psoriasis, which till now, in case of modern medicine, we have not achieved much to for the alleviation of the sufferings which the people suffer from the psoriasis. So I welcome Dr. Achintya Mitra for the presentation, and again I will hand over the mic to Dr. Shantanu Munshi sir for his further comments, please.
I think Professor Shantanu Munshi sir has not joined yet, so we can start the presentation, sir.
Definitely. I welcome Dr. Achintya Mitra sir.
Thank you. May I audible?
Presentation, sir.
Good afternoon, Namaskar. Wish you all respected members present here. The happy Independence Day. That is the 26th Independence Day we are celebrating, and also we have completed that Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav of the 75 years of the independence of our motherland, with lot of activities and programs throughout the entire year by our organization under the Ministry of Ayush. And simultaneously also we are celebrating the Charak Jayanti Mahotsav since the 2nd August of this year, because 2nd August this year is a Naga Panchami, and we are the Naga Panchami, the date is Tithi is earmarked for this Charak Jayanti. And since the 2nd August, we are celebrating a lot of program with the Charak Parv or Charak Jayanti Mahotsav. And I'm very much thankful and grateful to this IPS West Bengal. I'm also live member since long time, and also involved with so many activities of this chapter. And I'm very happy for taking this celebration with this lot of scientific talk. So Chairperson Professor Pathak has already given the insight of this theme of this lecture, and I'm very happy that our present boss by Professor R.N. Acharya, he is the Director General of Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences. He has given the special note, and Professor Shantanu Kumar Tripathi, Professor T K Mondal, President of IPS West Bengal, Professor Dr. C. Prakash is the President of IPS, and Dr. Twin Kanti Vishwas also present. My brother, elder brother, Professor Anjan Adhikari, he is a very knowledgeable and lover of this Ayurvedic system of medicines. And my ex-boss, Dr. Joyram Hajra, he is a retired director of CRI Kolkata. He is also present in this today's program. And I'm very much happy that Dr. S.S. Samajdar has taken this initiation, and because being Indian, we feel proud that we have our own system of medicines, indigenous system of medicines. Till it is very much acceptable, and is also growing rate in the abroad is also very high. So as you know, this today I'll talk with the safety and efficacy of Ayurveda management in psoriasis. Definitely, I'm in the research field in 17 years, and we have completed some clinical trial with the approved protocol and with the CTRI registration, and that outcome I'll definitely share. Before that, I would like to mention that the psoriasis is under the skin disease, and in Ayurveda it is called Kushta Rog. Kushta, it is not meaning that is a leprosy. The terminology is Kushta is a Kusmat Bopu with Kushta, which is ugly looking of the skin lesion is called Kushta. There are 18 types of the skin disease, Mahakushta and Kudra Kushta. And there are some similarities of the sign and symptoms which we can consider as a psoriasis. That will explain the frequently asked question on psoriasis as our practice. What is psoriasis? What is what are the symptoms? How does psoriasis looks? Different types of psoriasis are there according to the classifications, the disease pathology, and also location, and which is the common affected part of the psoriasis or the causes. Is there any hereditary or genetic causes are there? Most important question repeatedly asked by the patient and patient party is the psoriasis is contagious, whether it is infectious, and is there any common age for psoriasis? Psoriasis, is it in children also? What are the triggering factors and how it affects the quality of life of the patient, and how we can assess the severity of the psoriasis, how we can diagnose, and what kind of the investigation we have to perform, whether is there any diet restriction is there, and what is the Ayurvedic approach for the treatment. And another important question, whether psoriasis is curable or not, and what is the prognosis, is there any complication like that? The common question asked by the patient, and that I will just briefly discuss. The psoriasis, just for recapitulation, it is that chronic long-lasting skin disease and characterized by the scaling and the inflammation, chronic inflammation, and scaling occurs when cells outer layer of the skin reproduce faster than the normal and pile up on skin surface. As you know, this is an immunomediated disease due to the faulty immunosignaling system, and in Ayurveda, it is considered as the Khudra Kushto, and also sometimes it may be discussed with the Eko Kushto or Kitiva. So I'll not be going to the debate of that nomenclature, but we'll discuss as a psoriasis in the modern perspective of diagnosis, and we'll discuss of the treatment approach of through Ayurveda. So in Ayurvedic perspective, it is, if you consider the Eka Kushta, this is mentioned, Ashedanang Mahavastu, just Masu Sakalapam Tadeka Kushtang. Means if there is a circular, is a lesion will be there, skin lesion is there, it will be growing very fast, and there is no swelling, no sweating, and there is scaling like a fish. And if you consider the Kitiva, Sabang Kirokharos Parso, Poruso Kitava Matam, and there will be the roughness and the thickening of the skin like that. So it is mentioned by Charak Sangita, and if you go to that Charak Sangita Chikitsa Sthani, you will get a lot of classification treatment approach on the psoriasis. Epidemiology, as per the present knowledge, is a very common, we can consider as the skin disorders, and the prevalence variation 0.3 to 2.5%, and prevalence equal to males and females, and estimated incidence is 60 for 1,000 per year, and mostly it is happened in that cold area where the cold exposure is very high, and also coastal region. So classically it is mentioned in Ayurveda, if you consider the Sanskrit terminology also, Mandalakar Arun Varna, there is a circular red circular erythematic lesion will be there classically. And Ashedanam, there is a loss of sweating is a particular affected part. Mahabostu, that means nature is spreading a very speedy infection of this, it will cover whole body gradually. And the Matssakalapam, silvery scaling like scale of fish. Kondub, that means itching will be there. Rukshata will be there, means dryness, roughness. And Ashita Varna, there is maybe the hyperpigmentation after the healing of this lesion, and all if it is a chronic, there is a thickening of the skin, and by the science, classical established science, we can diagnose this case like the candle-based signs, after signs, and Koerner's phenomenon. There are different types as per the present knowledge. There is a plaque psoriasis, inverse and flexular psoriasis, erythrodermic and pustular psoriasis, and gouty psoriasis. So among these, the plaque psoriasis is the most common, and others are very, especially the pustular psoriasis is very rare. These are some pictures in my clinic, the chronic plaque psoriasis. This is a gouty psoriasis. It is taken from other side also. Flexular psoriasis. This is the erythrodermic psoriasis. This is a pustular psoriasis. Typically, there is a lesion with this pocket of sterile pus is there. The plateau plantar psoriasis, as per the location of this lesion, we are also classified. And the scalp psoriasis, sometimes we are ignoring most of the patients, the mild moderate cases with the scalp psoriasis, they are ignoring. It is considered as a dandruff like that. This is the nail psoriasis, the classical changes of the nail bed, and psoriatic arthritis, which is very, very common nowadays. Also, there is a very minimum skin lesion, but the deformity of the skin joints, it is seen. This is also a complicated psoriasis we can consider. Some common effects area is the scalp, skin fold, elbow, palm, nail, back, knees, even sole, and even in the genitalia. This is the common picture of the our clinic. Now, what are the causes? As per definitely there is no causes is now till now is not established. But in Ayurveda, we are considering the viruddha ahar pan, unwholesome the diet and the drinks, ashatma indra sanjog, and the dushi vish, means we can consider is a some free radicals in the body also may be considered as the Ayurveda in the dushi vish. Anyhow, it is exact cause is unknown. Now there is a question whether it is a hereditary or is a genetic causes. There is a definitely the research is going on. There is a definitely that genetic hereditary gene is also established. But in our experience, we can say that among one of the parents was a psoriatic, and their son and daughter both are known case of the psoriasis. This kind of cases also we are getting, and in our clinic also. In the psoriasis is contagious? Definitely it is not contagious, but if your co-passenger is some kind of severe exfoliation of the skin disease, definitely will not comfortable. So fact is that 57% of the people mistaken psoriasis as a contagious, 48% people mistaken as other disease, maybe leprosy and other infectious skin disease they are thinking, and 40% psoriasis people really receive travel in service establishment like the hair salon, swimming pool, in any common platform they're getting the travel due to their because it is a social stigma like that. Any common age for the psoriasis? In the psoriasis in children, yes, so people have their first outbreak between the age group, the middle age actually 23 to 37, but it can be happen at any age. Current theory is that to distinct peaks with possible genetic association, entire life there is a exfoliation, complete exfoliation of 2 times at least. Early onset, it will be the 16 to 20 years, and late onset maybe 57 to 60 years. Now the triggering factors of the psoriasis, by which we can control and also improve the quality of life due to stress, and better to say distress, certain foods and cold and dry weather, certain medicines and addiction and sunburn. I'm not going to detail because my purpose to discuss on this the clinical trial or whatever outcome we have gathered, that we'll discuss. So definitely the quality of life is hampered by this psoriasis, and quality of life was affected 70% of the psoriasis patient. Even I have faced one problem, so my admitted cases also committed suicide during the treatment also. So that is a huge kind of the stress of the psoriatic patient. So it is also very valuable aspect of the treatment of the psoriasis patient. Now the standard methods is there to understand the severity of the psoriasis and is there any complication. If it is a body surface is less than 3%, we can consider as a mild. 3% to 10% we can consider as a moderate, and more than 10% we can consider as a severe cases of psoriasis according to the body surface coverage. And there is a standard scales also available. The PASI calculator is also available, by which we can easily understand the scoring by that 4 parameters. On the basis of the 4 parameters, by scoring we can understand the PASI score. So there are complicated psoriasis, like I have already shown that picture, the psoriatic arthropathy, and psychological complication like the social isolation, low self-esteem, and the stress disorder, anxiety, depression, and thickening of the skin, fissure, and there is a crack of this chronic psoriasis cases. Sometimes also after that there is a secondary infection. That is also very challenging sometimes, and psoriasis in the geriatric age group, because with the aging process also skin also getting old. So that is also very challenging. And psoriasis with any other chronic metabolic disease like diabetes, obesity, hyperthyroidism is also sometimes very challenging in the clinically to treat the psoriasis cases. Few case studies. This case is a more than 20 years history of the suffering with the type 2 diabetes and uncontrolled diabetes, psoriasis also getting. But just through some image, just to understand the progress of the treatment. This is an engineering boy with huge kind of stress and also got opportunity to higher study in the abroad, also having the psoriasis with severe depression also treated and controlled. These are the progress by image, by photography only. The psoriasis is a hyperthyroidism also treated with our treatment and also getting benefited. Psoriasis is a fissure, the crack of this, there is a crack of this lesion with the bleeding. This is very painful and that is also treated. And this person never seen without in a cap, because the main secret of this psoriasis in scalp. Now he is not using this cap also. So we can control this disease. This is a psoriatic arthropathy, very deformity of this ALS spine and also the joints, small joints and big joints also, but very minimum skin lesion. These are the plaque psoriasis. This is a pustular psoriasis also treated. And if you see this picture, there is a pustular psoriasis with a pocket of pus also inside. Very rare, but we have got few cases also. Anyhow, that approach that is diagnosed by mainly the clinical sign and symptoms, but some cases also we are going for that skin biopsy by which we can establish this diagnosis also. Now I'll do to discuss about this, what is the clinical study we have conducted. That title of this clinical study is Evaluation of the Clinical Efficacy and Safety of the Bhamana Karma. Bhamana Karma is one of the major procedure of under the Panchkarma therapy, and by the oral administration of Jasad Bhasma along with Triphala in the plaque psoriasis. And that was a 3 years project. So the multi-center study, one center in Calcutta, another center in Kerala under the CCRS. And we have completed this study. If you see that there is a 2 centers and the study was conducted 2013 to 2015 and with the standard protocols after vivid discussion. And also we have registered in the CTRI registration. And the participants, whatever we have taken the plaque psoriasis, are enrolled confirming the inclusion and exclusion criteria, and subject diagnosis was made by the past history of psoriasis, whether patient is already diagnosed case by the Department of Dermatology of any medical college, or if it is not so, then we are going for the biopsy and finding the plaque psoriasis. And objective parameters for diagnosis included the punch biopsy, the positive histopathological findings, and eligibility criteria involve the both male, female from the age is 18 years and above, and 60 up to the 65 years. Inclusion criteria is a diagnosis case confirming by the skin biopsy or the patient having written consent as per the clinical trial protocol. All kind of compliance we have done, and chronic plaque psoriasis, inadequate control by the topical application, treatment and phototherapy and previous systemic. If they are so, also there is a washout period also. And body surface area affected by the psoriasis more than 5% to and less than 50%, and SPACI score definitely should be more than 8. That was the mark we have taken in this criteria. In the exclusion criteria, that patient having use of any systematic treatment for the psoriasis, like methotrexate and other systemic steroids, and within 1 month, we are not included. And use topical application or phototherapy of that psoriasis with the 14 days, having received within a past 1 month any anxiolytic or antipsychotic drug, any other drug being received simultaneously, if the investigator thought that it may influence the study outcome. We have not taken. Pregnant and nursing children also not included, and any concomitant disease like kidney, liver, lungs, any metabolic disorders which is uncontrolled, we have not taken. And some skin disease also, which is similar to the psoriasis, also confirmed by this diagnosis by the objective criteria. So treatment plan was that everything was explained, and there is a, I've already said, as per the our Sangitas, there is a basic principle that Sanshadhan karma is required, the purification and body by Panch karma therapy. I have taken that Bhamana karma, and after that we are giving this some special therapy, and that I will explain. And after that we are giving Rasayana therapy for the rejuvenation or healing, to speed up the healing. So overall 118 patients were screened, comprising 64 and 54 participants in Kolkata and Chertuti in Kerala. And then we have assessed all the laboratory parameters, safety profiles, and total 86 patients. That is from Calcutta is 40 and from Kerala is 46 registered, and also we have undergone the treatment as per our approved protocol. So first of all, we are preparing the patient by Karma. We are giving the Snehapana, that intake of the medicated oil, that is Mahatikta Ghrita, which is standard classical formulation using 1000 years, I think. And that Snehapana we are giving in the increased dose. As per the appetite, every day we are assessing, and starting with the 30 ml, and gradually we are increasing up to the 7th day. 210 ml maximum we can give in the 7th day. And after that, we are giving the fermentation therapy for 2 days with a hot water bath. And then the principal procedures, we are performing the Bhaman Karma with some herbs, and we have a standard protocol, approved protocol of the Bhamana Karma, by which we are giving. But this is for 1 day, and after on that day and after up to the 7 days, we are giving strictly dietary supplements. Purpose is the Loghu to Guru Patha, that is called Samsarjan Kram. We have a schedule, approved protocol, and that diet regimen. We are giving no medicine on that time, only the diet schedule we have to follow, liquid to the normal diet. And after that, we are giving the Takrodhara. The pouring of medicated suspension to the patient. That procedure performed by 45 to 60 minutes, 7 days. With that procedure, the suspension is preparing by the juice of this or the decoction of the amloki and mutha and the milk, buttermilk. So this is a typical formulation. It is also approved, and there is a standard protocol we are following, and we are giving the Takrodhara. And after that, we are giving the Rasayana therapy, rejuvenation therapy, 49 days. That is Yashad Bharma. This is we are preparing by the incineration of the natural source of this zinc, 100 mg twice daily with the Triphala Churna, 3 gram twice daily for the 6 weeks. And total regimen of this treatment is 66 to 68 days. We are giving this treatment regimen. Now there is the assessment criteria. Mainly we are following the PASI score and dermatology quality, life quality index, DLQI, and biochemical parameters for dark safety, and even the ECG and X-ray we have performed. And that, and you know, the PASI score is a standard methods by which you can diagnose and also assess this progress of this disease. And DLQI also having some multiple questions, and by which we can make a score. So, and the biochemical parameters, all the hematological, biochemical for the kidney, liver, heart we are perform, and in the simultaneously we are also taking care of the all the objective criteria and subjective criteria also. And 0-day baseline, we have done this all the investigation, and the day of 24 after Takradhara we have done, and day of 45 days also we have done this investigation. Ethical, I have already told that ethical clearance also taken by the both the center, and also there is a CTRI registration number. And now the result in a brief, if you consider is a PASI score and the DLK score, it is a sample size is 74. Then if you see the PASI score is the mean score, 0 is a 23.19. Gradually in the 10th day it is a 13.41, and 24th day 8.26, and in the end on the 66th day it is 4.64. and which is statistically very much significant. And DLQI scoring also 16.772. In the 66 days, it comes to 3.65. So that means as per the scoring, it is also improved patient. And this is just a diagram by which you can understand this. The disease severity index is decreasing after 66 days of treatment. Now the few parameters on the safety profiles, and also having no such changes in the respiratory rate or the blood pressure, systolic blood pressure, diastolic blood pressure, oral temperature, like that. Some biochemical parameters, very briefly I've given this. There is no such changes, even also not changes in that creatine, urea creatinine, or SGT, SGPT, and other liver function parameters. These are the clinical response. Very briefly, that after we have taken all the images in the all the follow-up cases, and also 0-day to all the follow-up cases. So in a nutshell, we can say this is a before this enrolling the patient, we have gathered all the data or the as per our approved protocols, including image and biochemical and profile histopathological study, everything. We have started this therapy. After Snehapana, we have given Bhamana Karma. Then after that, we have given Takradhara, and we have given Rasayana Chikitsa for the rejuvenation, and we have gathered all the data in every follow-up cases. So take home point of this study is that psoriasis is a chronic multi-systemic disease. As you know, it is not curable disease, but we can control, and it is involving the skin and the joints. Different types of psoriasis as per the morphology also we have we know this very well. And the plaque psoriasis is the most common types. 80 to 90% of the patients suffering from plaque psoriasis, and the detailed history should be taken patient with psoriasis, because so many aspects we have to take care with this psoriasis cases. Plaque psoriasis is often diagnosed clinically. It not require in the clinical practice, it is not required for histopathology. But as we have conducted the clinical trial, that's why we have done histopathologically, and that healthcare provider are encouraging to actively take signs, symptoms of the psoriatic arthritis each visit. And patient with the moderate to severe disease or the complicated psoriasis requires systemic treatment in addition to topical application. It is not that only putting some oil or cream it will cure. It needs the systemic medication. With that therapy is very effective. As you know, systemic medication through Panch Karma therapy, especially Bauman Karma and the Birachan Karma, sometimes also we are giving as per the condition. It reveals the effectiveness. So we have a published this our study that is published in the Journal of Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, because it is sponsored by the itself the CCRS, and it is the CCRS journal. The clinical study to evaluate the efficacy and safety of the comprehensive Ayurvedic therapy in plaque psoriasis in open level multicentric prospective study. So I request everybody, it is an open access journal, JRS. So please visit and you will get the detail of this outcome of this study, and you can make a comments also. So thank you very much. If you have any question, I'll be very happy to answer.
Thank you, Dr. Achinte, for your to-the-point scientific presentation. In this presentation, you very aptly dealt with right from the beginning as to what psoriasis is, what are the causes of psoriasis. Then one of the important points you dealt with is regarding the quality of life that is hampered in the psoriasis and how the patient feels the stress. You have mentioned some of the incidences where the patients had the extremes of committing the suicides under the stress which is being developed due to the psoriasis. Not only that, you mentioned regarding the scoring system in the psoriasis and how do we score and how we go for the progress of the treatment. Not only that, the most important thing of your presentation was a very well designed multicentric clinical trial that was there to prove regarding the safety and efficacy of the treatment, especially Vaman Karma, and that was followed by Yashad Bhasma and Mahatikta Krita and these sorts of the therapies which are there. But what is the most striking thing is regarding the safety profile. It is not only the hard physical parameters, but biochemical parameters. This is something which is rarely I have observed, sir, in any of the researches, especially in the field of Ayurveda. That is the safety profile of whatever we are performing, whatever we are giving the treatment to the patient in the physical parameters as well as the hard biochemical parameters that you have taken into consideration. You have gone ahead publishing this particular research for the medical fraternity. So in all, sir, a very much a commendable work that you have done in this field of psoriasis. I hope that this particular paper or research paper this has come out, this will form the basis of further larger trials in this area. Probably there should be a conglomeration, there should be the handshake of the modern medicine as well as the Ayurveda in moving towards, first of all, is finding what the cause is. Since hundreds of years we are dealing with the psoriasis, still we have to say that we do not know what the cause is, probably to finding out the cause. And again, we have to stress, you stress in your presentation, we stress in our presentations of the modern medicine, that it is not curable disease, it can be controlled. Probably a day will come that with the pathies joining the hands, probably the two questions will be answered once for all, that what is the exact cause and the disease will be curable and not just controllable. So thank you very much, sir, for your excellent presentation and to the point scientific presentation. Are there any questions? Like the discussion is now, the presentation is now open for discussion. If there are any questions from the audience there, please. I don't see, sir, any questions coming, so I will hand over the mic to Dr. Shambo Samajdar, sir, for
I think we have very senior Ayurvedic physician and our esteemed member, Professor Joyram Hajra sir, with us. May I request Professor Joyram Hajra sir to say a couple of words?
Hello. Thank you to all. Hello. Are you audible? Hello.
Audible, sir, but volume is very low.
Actually, when I was in charge of that institute, Central Ayurvedic Research Institute, that work was done. And I'm very hopefully, I can say that Dr. Pathak, he was telling that in the near future, definitely with joining hand with allopathy and Ayurvedic, it will solve the problem created by the general public as well as the medical fraternity. And definitely we are hoping for that. And we also in our Ayurvedic system, we can give a very good medicine, I mean therapies for the psoriasis that already Dr. Achinto mentioned in his presentation. And you know, in our Ayurvedic system of medicine, all the medicine from the herbal minerals.
I think sound, we cannot hear you, sir. Hajra sir, we cannot hear you, sir, properly.
Sorry for that, but overall, I can say that in near future also, by joining hand with allopathic.
Sorry, sir, we could not hear you. I think there is some issue from your headphones, sir.
Oh, maybe. Sorry for that. Hello.
Okay, maybe due to some technical causes, we could not hear from Professor Joyram Hajra, sir. So we had missed that. For next time, we should have some facility so that we can hear from Professor Joyram Hajra, sir. So at the end, I think we already, it was a more than 3 hours, almost verging to 4 hours. So 3 hours 45 minutes. We had a long discussion on different topics, and it is again really important to note that, to revisit that, the importance of Ayurveda, and specifically as today we are observing Charak Janma Jayanti, Maharshi Charak Janma Jayanti. It is our real honor to observe that. So with that, I thank all the distinguished speakers and chairpersons for being with us, and we hopefully will have next meeting on this different other topics from this very important field, Ayurveda, and we will try to make it a little bit more in mixing with some modern medicine topics too, so that there should be a discussion between two specialty, and and to take some consensus decision on some issues. So with that, I again thank you all for being present with today's program, and Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, and a happy Independence Day to all of you. Namaskar.